All right. Hey, Dan.
Hello. Yeah, it did the same thing last week. I thought it was just kind of the plan.
Whoops. Nope, that's never the plan. Welcome.
Guys, it's Tavern Talk. Kick that music. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 5 dropped. And it was a hot one, full of controversy, and we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it.
We're here to talk about it. I'm here to save lives. Not only do I have my lifeguard hat, but I'm also a Superman. So you guys feel safe. This is a free, safe zone. I will save you from any distress. Let's do it. Let's talk about this episode, right?
Yeah, and well, let's bring in these guests first, huh? We got some friends with us. MrHowley and Carolina on the couch are joining us, and let's bring them in right now.
Oh, yeah.
And
We got bobblehead MrHowley.
Yep, right here. Look good.
I'm going to put you on my dashboard.
Yep.
And take the bumpy roads.
oh, wait. Are those thumb sweaters right there? Let me see your sweater sleeves. MrHowley, does your thumb go through your sweater sleeve?
This right here.
Look at that.
Only criminals and ninjas. Only criminals and ninjas have those.
No, I used to chew my sweaters nervously as a kid, and then I would make those myself and shove my thumb through them.
That explains a lot.
Okay.
True story.
Yeah, I can keep going.
Please do.
Hello, friends. Gosh, I'm
Hello.
glad that you guys are on. Neither of you have been on our Tavern Talk. MrHowley, you were on a party celebration for the release of the show, but that's the only time you've been on. So you guys are both new best friends, Ryan.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Definitely.
Ryan, our book of contacts is growing by the show.
Yeah. Our Rolodex, it's all digital now. I tried to fill it up with cards, but the cards are it's too full.
It's too full.
Yeah. We're going digital.
So having two new best friends, before we start off, I gotta greet you. Ryan, I gotta greet him, right?
Oh, I know. I understand.
Yeah. So that means what?
I was gonna say, can you just creepily lie back again for us? And start
Yeah, that means two new songs. Oh, the camera moves on its own.
Magic.
Right, and actually, if you could pause that music, Ryan, that we have.
I'm all over it. Boom.
Thank you. All right, I will do. I'll do Carolina's song first. All right, they're very similar, but you know, I'm a one-trick pony.
We'll take what we can get.
You know a Brother Dan song when you get one. All right. All right. Ryan, before this week, I was a grouch. Because we hadn't had this friend on who has a sweatshirt that has a pouch. She's an awesome person, for that I can vouch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dang it.
So meet our new best friend. It's Carolina on the couch.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes.
And then, all right, I got it.
Thank you. What a blessing.
Now, MrHowley song. Sorry. Ryan, I'm gonna sing this song a little growly. It's like my voice is a demon conjured by Aleister Crowley. Oh yeah, our friend You want to know who this is? Well, then allow me to have you meet our new best friend. It's Mr. Howley.
Incredible.
Yeah. Oh. All
Thank
right.
you, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I'm sorry. You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What?
The tradition continues.
Yeah, this is somewhat of an initiation, and sometimes they're fun, and sometimes you get your butt whacked by a big paddle, and that's just what happens.
Then you have a
Sounds like a
cigarette.
lot of things.
I will be asking you guys questions later on in the show so that we can fully get to know you and truly become new best friends. But we're here to talk about, not about you guys. I mean, I'm sorry. We're not here to talk about Ryan. We're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about Blood Calls Blood. Yeah. All right, so let's start right with the title. And you can turn the music back on if you wish, Ryan.
Good call. Thanks for the reminder.
Blood Calls Blood is a reference to a chapter title. Oh, maybe just a tiny bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a reference to a chapter title that all of these have been so far. But I don't see where this title really comes into play unless we look at Perrin, I guess, which Blood Calls Blood does not in the books refer to Perrin and the Wolves, correct?
Well, it's not clear what Blood Calls Blood is. I mean, it was written fucking in blood on the wall.
That's exactly.
And Varen, who I guess we have to maybe believe her, which is right. Like she read the prophecy. She read it out loud, and we're supposed to, I guess, take it word for word. But we know she could lie, so it's weird. I mean, I don't know what to make of it, but I don't know. I don't think it's clear. I always thought it was about Manethrin, but it doesn't seem clear. What were you guys thinking about what the book reference was?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, I go ahead. But yeah, I mean, I think it could be a few things. I think it like I always thought of it as being a Manethrin kind of aspect, especially as Matt starts to lose his memory and things like that. But and then also, I think maybe they're playing on the fact that Perrin's wolfy senses are coming alive, and his blood is calling his blood in a way. But that's not actually in the books. That's just something that felt, connected to. And I think every storyline that we see is like blood calling blood in a way, like Nynaeve's meeting up with the Two Rivers folk who are her own blood in a way. And then, Lan and his warder bond and all these things. It's kind of like these different societies that have blood together in the sense of like connection. So, that's a general thought.
No, it's a good one. What do you think, MrHowley?
I think it's going to stink to go after her every time. Because her...
No.
Yeah.
Never.
No, your answers were spot on. To tell you the truth, I totally gravitated towards Perrin. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really didn't see anything else in the episode. Unless for me, to add on to what you were saying, Carolina, was that the whole bonding warder stuff, the blood that link between Aes Sedai and warder and stuff like that. I mean, you could stretch it there, but I was definitely in the Perrin camp for that one.
The only other obvious thing that it could be in my head, and again, for people in the chat, this was written on the cell walls in Faldara. It was the Dark Prophecy that was written by Trolloc or Padan Fain or Myrddraal or someone. It was written on blood on the walls, and it was Blood Calls Blood. The only other option I could see is perhaps when Logain sees Matt and starts laughing maniacally. Yeah. But that's an odd title for this episode, if you ask me.
Yeah. And doesn't Rand erase some of the blood call? Doesn't he erase the part
yes.
before Varen sees it or something like that? I forgot what the part he erased.
He erased the door. And the door was almost specifically meant for him, it felt.
Yeah, it said Althor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, something. Oh, that's right, because of the Padan Fang. Yeah, okay, I got it.
He's delivery for Al. Yeah. It was like it's like that delivery notice. It had his name on it. He's like, oh no.
See you on Tom and Ed.
So,
Yep, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And who did you guys think actually wrote that on the wall? Did you think it was Fane or Murdraw or a intelligent Trolloc?
Narg only salutatorian.
I think it was Fane. Yeah, especially because of the Althor part, because Fane has like such an obsession with the Emmons Fielders between Matt and Rand pretty evenly. And Rand almost more in some ways, even though, yeah. That'd be a really long tangent if I go down that road. So just,
well, I mean, it's, well, to that point,
keep it tight.
To that point though, the prophecy was written in the Old Tongue, and the message to Rand was written in Common or whatever. So I always kind of assumed it was two different messages. So everyone in chat, I'm hoping there's a collective.
It was.
But wasn't Padan Fane at that point like going? Like or death or more death or whatever, to where he's got his bipolar thing going on, where he probably did one in Old Tongue and one regular.
It was, and to be clear, it wasn't Old Tongue. It was Trolloc script.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Nice call, Brother Dan.
So
points for Brother Dan.
Hey, what the fuck? Wait. Troll. Okay, I never. What? Did we ever talk about this in the show? Trolloc script?
I've never heard of Trolloc script. I don't doubt it, but wow. I didn't catch that ever.
I mean, does Trolloc script mean it's like written in Trolloc hand, but not necessarily, it's not Trolloc language, right? It's just Trolloc handwriting.
Yeah, no, it's
my own dialect.
Ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga.
I can't fight this feeling.
Yeah, we never did talk about that, but I believe it is Trolloc script, or at least Varen mentions it, and she says, I think it is Trolloc script, right? Yeah,
I think so too. I agree with you.
I believe, Flamingo Sedai is coming in. Trolloc and Rune's script were written in the guide stones in the ways during Eye of the World. Okay.
Yeah.
Magic runes.
Interesting.
Okay. Thank you, Flamingo. Well, let's jump in. I mean, there was more than the title, guys. There were funerals.
Just a few things.
They bury all the dead. Woo! They bury all the dead and have candles for them all. They bury them in very shallow graves. Do you think that ceremony ends there? Wolves are going to eat these bodies. Hi, King.
Well,
that's a great shot right there.
Yeah,
level lens flare.
Shot. Isn't it the Malkier? I mean, within their traditions, the Malkier they just bury them without anything, right? And just let them be.
In like 6-inch graves?
I think so. I could be wrong. Somebody in the chat correct me, but I thought it was just very, very shallow. They put their body in there without like the cover that you see, and that's about it. Maybe cover them up with some rocks.
Yeah, that's what we saw with the Aiel. The Aiel had a more proper burial, I would assume, and while they may not have gone the full 6 feet, they were on the edge of a river. There's a water table. Who knows?
Yeah.
But they did cover it with rocks. Well, I mean, come on.
Sorry, man. You made me snort. I'm a snort.
Somebody in the chat, Danjamin, I'm probably saying that wrong, DanJamin905, saying like they, with the power, that's what I was wondering, because I was thinking maybe, it is a really shallow grave, so to me it's just going to take a stiff wind, and then those bodies are out again. So, so like maybe the power is involved in like burning them, or covering them, or like somehow burying them further. Because I was like, I think as well for our, the world we're living in, having a shallow grave is like, I don't know why I always thought of it as being something that's considered like disrespectful. It means somebody wouldn't work hard enough to give you a proper burial or something. I don't know if that's just like something I've read into it. So I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
Brother Dan, real quick. I do believe that there's some credence to the theory that the candles are meant to burn down and start a fire, which will then consume the bodies.
Kind of like Viking.
Oh, nice.
Okay, they all have candles on them.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'd be down with that.
Here's the first braid tug of the season.
We had in this show we had a braid tug.
It's right
here.
here.
We had arms folded beneath breasts, and we had skirt smoothing, all done by Nynaeve.
Zoe Robbins has read the books, and she's just giving us these things. The showrunners don't even know what's happening. She's just like, I'm just gonna do this.
Just like, why does she keep folding her arms?
Yeah.
That appears to be a tradition to beat your left collarbone right around your heart area. Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
Oh yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
So
Watch that.
the one thing here I think they missed out on, and Carolina, I think you said something earlier about it too, is that it really would have been cool if they had used the one power in the ceremony. Like even where they're standing in the middle, like somebody channels Earth where it like raises up like a memorial to them all or something. I think they could have done a lot more with that scene as far as like making it nuanced for us, for book readers. But
well, Steppen carried Karini a good quarter mile, and we watched every step.
Hey, right? He living up to his name.
They just wanted to get the song in there, so they were like, we're gonna bleed this one out because, as we said, blood calls blood. So that's what's gonna happen here.
Let's just bleed. Yeah. They jumped the shark after the second minute. Yeah, it was this whole episode is full of this. Guys, get ready. There's a lot to like. As I've analyzed this episode more, I'm finding more to appreciate about it. But man, I do not like just right off the bat. We're talking about a character that's not in the books who ends up dying. We'll never see again. And we got a whole episode.
This was the saga of Steppen. And all right, let's just get it out there. This was the saga of Steppen. We met Lan's best friend. We saw how awesome he was, and then he dies. And the whole point of it is to show, well, Lan and Moiraine are that tight too. More or less.
Yep.
In fact, in some ways, I think they were maybe more, or they're trying to say they're more tight because, well, not more tight necessarily, but like they're like. They've had their relationship as long as Steppen and Karini. I'm having such a hard time. I always call her.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it did lead for some very, very intense moments between Moiraine and Lan. One first happened during this funeral scene. They're standing apart from each other, eye contact, flashes back. They don't say anything. Lan walks away. You know what's going on there. And then later on, he... what was it? It was before Steppen died. He goes into Moraine's chambers and kneels in front of her, and they hold hands. And he's like, there's all these moments where he is obviously considering what it would be like for him to lose her. And I do like that they went there, and I do like that there is a lot of like slowly evolving scenes, and I wasn't upset that there wasn't a war scene or a battle of any type. I just didn't understand why we were spending so much time on this character.
To your point, that was a very beautiful scene when Steppen's like, "Well, you lose Moiraine and tell me, and then go find another Aes Sedai, and then we can talk." And he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I stepped out." And then he goes right then to Moiraine, and there's not a word said in that scene.
Yep,
it's all him, and they.
So much of that is being captured throughout, and I appreciate it every time it happens. Moiraine looks to Lan, and Lan leaves the room and leaves Nynaeve and Moiraine together. No word said. So much of this,
what it made me think is, so if that was my wife or whatever, I would have come in and just said, "I love you," something along those lines, right? I mean, and it's not a platitude; it's deeply felt. But there isn't a vocabulary to define that love that they have without seeming intimate. So if he came in and said, "I love you," or something, or if he says, "I'm always with you," so it was perfect that there weren't any words said, because I can't think of how he could have conveyed it with words. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you. That makes sense.
I think that was one of the best scenes in the show of this episode, because as you said, like there's so much kind of stuff we're seeing that we're kind of like, what is the point? But I think the only thing I'm hoping that comes from it is that there's a lot of foreshadowing that we're not getting quite yet. Like that maybe some of these things we're getting. 'Cause there's a lot of conversation when Steppen's in the room, where we're getting a lot of information about like Alana's warders, and I'm like, why do I need to know about his father? Maybe it'll be relevant later on. I don't know. And but then also like with Alana and the whole kind of conversation about her taking his bond. If a lot of people have suggested that she's going to be the Mirel, that maybe it's like a huge foreshadowing thing they're doing here, so that in 2, 3, 4 seasons, depending on when they do this, it'll be like, oh, like he was thinking about giving Steppen the bond, really, with land that's on the chopping block. So, yeah, it'll have more subtext when you watch it again. Whenever that happens, that's what I'm hoping, is that this episode, it grows like a fine wine.
Well, Carolina, you are involved in actually creating films. Is that correct? So are you looking at this through the lens of pretending to be a showrunner and saying, I have 8 seasons to get through this? Or are you watching it through just a fan's lens? How are you watching this series?
So many different ways. Honestly, every time I watch the episode, there hasn't been once where I've watched any of the episodes and been like, the first time I watch it, the whole time I'm like, oh, fuck this. And then I watch it again and I'm like, oh, I love this. Like, this is awesome. Like, it's weird. The first time I watch it, I'm so critical, but it's usually from a book reader's perspective. The second time I watch it, it's from kind of a step back, filmmaker's perspective, and just an audience member. And then I'm like, oh, I love all this stuff. It's just because I'm looking so hard at it because I want it to be perfect that I'm always looking at it. But the stuff about the film stuff, I think for me, it's mostly like noticing when costumes are too clean or sets are too obviously a set, and when lighting is too low contrast. But again, it's taste. But sometimes when I see those things, I'm like, but then like you said, like looking at it episode by episode, I do try to kind of think, okay, they have a long game they've got to play. So what is it that they're giving us? Because I just can't imagine Rafe putting an episode like this in there without it being useful later on, because it's such a slow episode and doesn't build towards any. Well, I mean, it builds some of the characters, like Perrin and Egwene have a lot of development in this one, but later on, I hope the rest of this also counts for something.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for answering that. And that's not the easiest question to answer. What lens do I view this through? But I'm trying to find myself in the same way. We talk to non-readers, and they are seeing things differently than I am, and I'm trying to shake my preconceived notions and embracing what we're given instead of what I think we should have been given, or what the book suggests we should have been given, and me throwing a fit. So I'm really like walking that line a little bit. Like I'm holding Kalendor. I'm on the razor's edge with bare feet.
Tap dancing.
But there's so much to like about this. And I'm wondering also, Carolina, are you getting any pointers? Are you seeing the advantage of that drone cam?
I think the thing I get the most pointers from is actually the acting, because as a director, I direct a bit. My favorite thing in directing is working with actors, and so looking at how because that was what I was actually most worried about. Even though Rosamund's playing Moraine, I was very worried about how she was going to be portrayed, because in the books, from a film perspective, what we know about Moraine is there's not much on the surface, and we just know it because we read it instead of because there's actually something done. And so there's a few characters. Perrin's another one that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Perrin also. Yeah.
And so I was actually what I've been very like you were saying in that scene with Moraine, in the scenes with Moraine and Lan, what I've been incredibly impressed by. And I don't know if it was directing. I'm sure Rosamund took kind of the lead, and Daniel Henney as well, but that they've had this conversation of how their bodies even move to each other, and kind of that reaction stuff. And then I learned a little bit about kind of my taste, even though there's stuff I'm seeing that I'm like, this is really cool, but I think more than anything, I'm seeing what I would have done differently. So it's not so much that it's a bad thing, but just that, I felt like the tone of the coloring of the show would be different because of my own taste, those sort of things.
Well, MrHowley, this is the second character that we've grown to, third, I guess, if we count his warder. But Steppen, along with Layla. We meet them. We are intrigued by them. We kind of like them in Steppen's case for sure. And actually, Layla was pretty punk rock. Right? She had 12 earrings in one ear. That's pretty gnarly. Let's go. I bet you
and
she
then
went.
Dunsky.
Yeah, and then they're gone. Yeah, and it's just so this is a technique that is called fridging, in which a character, generally female, but in this case it's Steppen, is
and his warder. And his Aes Sedai. I mean, Karini.
Yes, where they are killed off in order to propel the emotional arc of our protagonist. In this case, Lan and Moraine, I suppose. It's considered somewhat lazy writing to a certain degree, to just have people die in order to propel the person with you. And this is the criticism that we've heard from Layla, and I'm hearing now from Steppen. Do you think that this is a good way to develop our protagonists, I suppose?
To tell you the truth, I don't know. But I guess when, like, I don't know, I went down about 3 different paths when you were asking me that question. So with the fridging part of it, it's like, I guess for me with that is you kind of see that in the show too, right? Because when Matt and Rand come over the ledge and they're looking at Tar-Valon, like they're on the wrong side of the river because they've got Dragon Mount in the background. I mean, there's these certain parts of where this fridging comes in and that type of laziness within the shooting, where you're kind of like, why are they trying to crush it in like that when, they spend 20 minutes like developing other things, like especially with the Whitecloaks. Like I like how those scenes are very tight, but it seems like when you get into some of these scenes with these lesser characters, it just kind of, it's a lot looser as far as the standards are concerned, would be my observation on it. So I don't agree with it, but I can see why they're using it, because they're trying to, condense everything in like a freaking diamond.
Well, you bring up a good scene, because Carolina, you talking about actors, Ryan and I think concur that it was an acting clinic to watch Perrin, Egwene, and Valda in that tent.
Yeah.
The way, they were killing it. These kids were killing it, in my opinion. That was a good scene. I liked the Whitecloak aspect. The Whitecloak seemed very spooky until the very end when he's like, "What are you? No!" and pee-peed his pants.
And the stab of the shoulder.
That's true.
Do we think that Valda is still alive?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's going to make him even more, zealoty.
And she stole the rings.
She stole the rings, exactly.
Yeah, Valda's going to be all over her, so crazy. I want those rings back. He's going to go crazy with that.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll be maybe even replacing Child Buyer because of that whole thing with Perrin.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see. I really hope we get the amazing prologue that we had with him and Galad later on.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, I like it. For me, she, everybody, I haven't been watching social media a lot this weekend, but the one is everybody was complaining about the fireball hitting him. Did they expound on the theory that this is the first time that we've seen an Aes Sedai split weaves, where she threw the fireball at him and then she was sitting there burning the rope on Perrin on the side? Like, that was the first time at least from what I remember, that's the first time that I've seen an Aes Sedai actually split weaves.
Well done, Ryan. So this fireball, what do we make of it? Was it just a wimpy little poofy, or does he have a way to dispel weaves? He does say, "You will see I'm harder to kill than you think," or something along those lines.
Oh,
I think it's a distraction. I think it's a pure distraction on her part, where she's throwing him, like keeping him busy by like, "Oh, look at my puny little power," but on the side she's freaking tickling the ropes and she burns him off. So it distracts
She burns him off.
But
Tickling
but Valder doesn't flinch. Valder just looks at it and goes, "You see, I'm harder to kill than you think." To me, he has some protection, which would suggest why he's able to capture Seven's Aes Sedai. Maybe he's got like a matte Foxhead medallion thing.
The medallion thing.
That's our contention. That he's so brazen with her, is encouraging her to channel, knows what channeling can do. I mean, Moraine just whipped a Trolloc in half.
Yeah, she ripped a Trolloc apart.
Yeah.
And people are like, so it's just the discussion online seems to be people are claiming that he just knows that she's not full Aes Sedai, but so there seems to be a certainty when he looks at her and says, "Oh, but you can channel you can touch the one source. I know you can."
Yeah.
He's enigmatic to me.
Well, is that something? Does he know that she's a novice, or she's just coming into it? Where he's like, you don't know how to do any of this yet, so I'm not as afraid of you as I am other Aes Sedai.
Again, though, like if he made that mistake, if Nynaeve was in that chair, he'd be dead.
Yeah,
right. Like
everybody would be dead. In
if that's the case, then he's just a dumbass, and he can't strategize and think things through. But I don't see him that way. I see him as being very conniving. I mean, look at that face. That is not a dumb man right there.
So awesome. He is so awesome in that part.
So
I think he has to have something going on because otherwise, outside of Egwene, he's captured 7 sisters, so he clearly has 7, I think, right?
Look at that. It's like, huh? Oh no.
We have Loial. No, hello, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Saying it's Valmonadred.
Yeah. So to your point, MR though, that's a great point about that being like the first even mention of split weaves. Although I do believe we might have seen that action with
Dana. I think Dana mentioned it in the chat that they did it during the battle scene. They were splitting it. So
yeah. Okay, I didn't see that. Great minds.
Yeah.
I
know. I see it.
Great minds should not share a prison cell. Is that what you're gonna say, Ryan?
Ooh.
No. All right.
I have this one thing I think for this episode because we've talked about the issues that we think we see with it. I say think because maybe later on, as I said, we will appreciate it more. But like, it would have been so cool if this episode had conjoined the Nynaeve and Rand and Matt thing with, like, if Nynaeve had, somebody was mentioning in the chat way earlier that they would have liked to see that Nynaeve rescue scene. But I think they could have done like pretty much the exact same story with Perrin and Egwene, but then like right before they get out, or even maybe they have gotten themselves out and Nynaeve's already there, like releasing the horses and stuff. Like to have something where you kind of combine those two stories so that the part that feels quite like this is becoming about a character that we don't really care about that much is kind of evenly balanced with something that is the characters we love a lot. Because I think that was my biggest issue, is that not that I didn't like that other story, but that it wasn't, that it was overpowering other, like even the Perrin and Egwene one, which was way more interesting.
Right.
Than for me.
Right.
Opinion, but still, yeah. I would have liked to see that kind of combination.
And I wonder if it was more interesting because it was in the books.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let me.
I don't think so, Dan. I don't think so. I think it was just better. More well done. And I think I look at the scenes of Perrin and Egwene in that tent as like a mini play of three actors on one stage with one set, and they're acting their freaking asses off. And the dialogue's amazing, and there's just so much that is just impeccable about that. I think it was super well done, and I don't think it's because it was familiar. I don't think it really felt familiar, because I mean, Land's supposed to come in and just fucking ninja stealth kill everyone with, right? Like that's how it goes in the book. It's so different.
Right.
Well, I think for that one, I like how they do that. For me, I looked at it where Perrin was going through his admitting Layla's death, like accepting and admitting Layla's death and letting his past go, and then at the same time admitting in the wolves into his mind and admitting to what he is going to be in the future. Like I think that's where they do that transition there. So I like that, or at least that's what I took away from it.
Yeah. No, I mean I definitely like that too, and I don't think if they did I think for me it's like I want them to keep that everything they did exactly the same, but I wish they just connected it with the rest of the Emmons Fielders.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed in the next episode if they just all arrive in Tarvalon together. And that's probably what's going to happen, which is fine, but it's not as dramatic. And kind of, I think my point is, obviously, a hostage situation is going to always be way more dramatic than, say, grief. But I think grief becomes very dramatic when you've cared for the character for a very long time. So grief stories are often very hard to tell when you don't have enough history. Which isn't to say we did. I mean, it was very emotional, but. Like imagine that, 5 seasons from now with somebody that we've been spending 5 seasons with.
Yeah,
that would have
exactly.
Or unbearable.
Yeah, or what if we actually saw like flashbacks of young, Lan and young Steppen like hanging out, like trying to pick up.
Steppen was awesome. He brought out a really fun side in Lan. He was all talking shit. He was ribbing him. And
no, Steppen was awesome, and we've dubbed him Bi-Curious Steppen, which I think is...
Steppen, he's like, I've never been with a man. And Lan's like, no, 2 men.
2 men.
And he's like, well, the first servant is...
Yeah,
right. But Brother Dan also did point out that the last thing he learned is that he might be sleeping with 2 men, and he went and killed himself.
And then he went and killed himself.
Oh, no!
He's like, the stigma!
Lan's like, what the
So let me ask you guys, did we see Chekhov's white pillars? Did we see that? What are, Ryan.
This just in.
Yeah, you got it?
I got it.
All right.
But Dan, give me some heads up. I have a lot of stills. It takes me time to get them. So
okay,
as we're jumping around so sporadically, it's not. If we go in a more orderly fashion, I could really embellish us with some great stills.
I'm gonna try and hit the white pillars that we passed over and we're going back to.
Okay, so when the Tinkers are walking. Okay, here we go.
No, when Matt.
A person we love more than Tinkers love turnip curry. Hello, Morgan.
Hi. That turnip curry sounded amazing.
Kinda.
Yeah. I was wondering what the yellow stuff was that they were eating. It looked like they had like quesadillas, and I wasn't sure what, but now I know.
Quesadillas and turnip curry soup. Sounds awesome.
All right, who here instantly thought of Malkier Talks when he mentioned turnip curry?
We'll see that.
That's true.
So, Ryan, those pillars I was talking about is when right after the scene where the Aes Sedai are walking with Logain, there's Rand and Matt. Matt looks all fucked up before they get to Tarvalon, and they see they're walking next to like these ruined pillars that have magic runes, laddie.
Yeah, let me find them. I definitely have a screen of those. Yeah, I knew you were talking about. It's so weird. But
the Tinkers.
I mean, you guys can start talking about it, and I'll find it. But it is totally. My first thought was those are portal stones, right?
Well.
Let me ask that too.
Oh, that didn't occur to me.
I thought that too, but you see them with twice. You see them with the Tinkers, and you see them with Rand and Matt. And somebody's done a translation of them, and it's warders' names. And
what?
I'm sorry. Tongue. And then I think it's warders' names, and maybe also Aes Sedai names. I can't remember. But it says it definitely has warder names. So part of me thinks it's just a kind of a guiding stone that you're getting closer to Tarvalon, and in honor of that, remember these people that came from there.
There you go, Ryan.
I thought it was a portal stone until somebody.
All right, well, Carolina, can you read this for us, please?
Yeah, what does that read?
I'm just putting on Twitter at time, okay? Somebody else has done this work.
So, wait, it's legit. Like warders and Aes Sedai went and put their names in wet cement.
Let's see if we can find this.
Unless it's in memoriam, I would assume maybe they would do it if someone died there. But I thought this may have been a traveling stone, a portal stone.
Oh
Look at
man,
that.
how many hippies have this on their lower back?
I got that henna.
That looks
And
like that totally looks like a prison tattoo.
It stayed for 3 weeks. It was so great.
All right, so now that we're here, though, let's just jump into the real shit right here. What are these? What are these faces?
I was trying to figure out if they were here. What is it? Hear no evil, see no evil, say no evil. Or whatever. I thought it was one of those deals.
All right.
It does look.
This is
Incan or
actually Mount
Mayan-ish.
Rushmore, guys.
I was gonna say, is this Mount Rushmore? Like,
It's
yes!
Of the Monkey
God
Kingdom.
damn, you beat me to the joke.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Well,
I
right
should
there's-
consult before I speak next
That
time.
right there is Ape Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over
So
there is.
Did you say Ape Lincoln?
Yeah, thank you.
This
Okay.
is part,
Oh no.
this is the ruins of an ancient city. This is part of an old, like, fun part. This is like ancient Disneyland, and this is a fountain. So, like, water would shoot out of the nose and the eyes and everything, and it was just like, total civic art right there.
Civic art.
I thought it was a glory hole right there. Look,
Never mind, I was
just
wrong.
look.
Oh, is this an Ogie or glory hole?
A head, you go right in the mouth. You stand behind the mouth. Then it's a tongue. You're like. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, that one.
I thought it
I mean,
was,
that is shaped like Tarvalon. All right. So, I mean, any guesses? What are we thinking? Is hey, look at that! Look at that.
Out of the
Aram.
way, hippie.
They punked him, man. Get the hell out
Yeah,
of the
they
way.
did. No, he's trying to save the day. All right. So, what's our guess and like a real guess?
Turtle
Just-
aquarium.
Okay.
No
Sorry.
clue, dude.
Yeah, just ancient ruins. They
Yeah.
mention ancient ruins throughout the stories. This isn't quite like what I imagined. Usually it's always like stately kings and queens. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but
Do you think they might be Forsaken?
maybe.
Oh, that's interesting. Because the models of the Forsaken we saw were a lot more kind of rudimentary
Mm-hmm.
than, say, what you'd expect. It isn't. That'd be interesting. I think what I thought when I saw this was that it gives the world a more ancient feeling to it, because it doesn't seem like you said, like it doesn't seem as like well done as a king statue or the Arthur Hawkwing one that we know of.
Right.
So it feels like it's kind of being like, this world is very, 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 very old.
On a little tangent, I
Right
had
there,
heard
that
that.
dude.
I
The
had heard-
dude on the
yeah.
far right, Brother Dan, the one on the far right.
Yeah,
What's
that
he
guy.
doing?
Hey, that's the guy from the Scream painting by
Right there.
Munch.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's the
Nice.
original theater, the comedy and tragedy.
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice.
I think
That's
he's
a good
running into
pull.
sauce.
So I had heard that if humans, all living beings, were just taken off the earth for 10,000 years, everything that we know would be gone except for stone
Puppets.
sculptures.
Except for
Stone puppets. The only way we would know that there was a civilization here would be the pyramids or anything that's been hewn in stone, but everything that's steel or plastic or everything would be completely gone and consumed by the earth. So that also does, to your point, Morgan, indicate age, that stone is timeless, and it could have even been from a prior age that survived,
That is a great point. They do
Yeah.
look like they're real. I thought the same.
Well done.
That's a
Well,
good call.
Then yeah, way to make good use of the surroundings.
Let's talk Tinker. Our fellow Leafers.
All right, no, this is great. If you see a portal stone on the side of the road that say 15 miles of Tarvalon, it's probably just a signpost. Thank you. Thank you. So, but I mean, like, but again, to that point, why would they just have warders and Aes Sedai names on it? It didn't say like 15 miles of Tarvalon in fucking old script. Why Elno? I'm taking it to you, bro. Come back.
Hey,
What do you mean?
You fitted miles.
Hey, your one man's signpost is another man's fucking portal stone. Doopy, doopy, doopy.
Yeah, it's all on how you use it.
It's all yeah. If Rand sees that thing, woo.
The Tinkers get their ass kicked, guys. They get beat upon.
This is not the way.
This is not the way.
See, I was
Yeah, they were
surprised.
supposed to get the hell out of there. They were supposed to run, right?
I know.
There you go.
Run!
Run for your lives. This is the way to leave.
Like I saw the stills that they had, or the original like trailer, and I assumed that they were gonna kill the Tinkers because you saw the trailer and you saw the bit where the Whitecloaks are circling around Perrin and Egwene, and you just see Aram off to the side, and I was just sort of like, you know, oh, the Whitecloaks are so much more evil and they're murdering Tuatha. So I like the fact that actually, you know, the Whitecloaks might be bastards, but they won't kill Tuatha, because it kind of does give a little bit of a baseline for like how low they'll go. So I mean, yeah, beating up like peaceful hippies isn't cool, but at least they're not like slaughtering them. So it's like a low bar of human decency, but you know.
Well, and we are.
So this is basically Reno 911, right? Like these guys look like.
I'm telling you, they look like hipsters. I've said this in my video, but hipster
It does-
baristas, no doubt.
It's so
Look at
weird.
that hair.
Yeah,
I know,
you
I know.
mentioned Carolina. You mentioned something about going to like a concert or together or something.
Like you get, like I was saying, like, oh, with the side of your burning at the stake today, would you like a free espresso, pre-treated espresso?
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
That's right.
I genuinely am just shook at. I'm so shook at that nobody is talking about this either. Like I've seen so many videos that everyone's just like, oh yeah, these evil guys, and I'm like, what? Like,
The Pompadour crew.
No. I mean, there's definitely something to the fact that people are having a hard time criticizing the show. That's to be expected, because every time we even say one thing negative, a lot of comments come back, kind of punishing us, which is fine. Like we're gonna keep saying how we feel, but it is interesting. I think it might be influencing people when they are presenting their true feelings. So I actually think I miss the significance of this. I
Is
thought
that
this.
Kevin Smith, the director? Sorry, kind of
No,
looking.
all right. So smarter people than myself have been able to link this to a scene in the books where they're talking
Shadow
about.
Rising, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can you go into that and explain what this is?
Rand goes through the column TreeXHugger, and when he gets the ancestor that's back at the breaking of the world, he goes into a room, and there are a bunch of Aes Sedai arguing. They've basically had the foretelling prophecies. So they've got like the Dragon Banner and Kalendor out. They're gonna, go do what they do with that. And afterwards, he's talking to the Aes Sedai about the duty that they've given them to take the TreeXHugger away, the ones that end up in Rhuidean. And the Aes Sedai is talking about these Dashane Aiel who link arms and sing to this man who can channel, and they basically do it so the people of the city have time to get away, and he zorches them all one by one while they stand there like linked arm in arm and sing.
right.
So,
Oh, I didn't notice this. Look at the painting on this guy's staff.
oh, that's cool.
That's really cool. All right, so thank you for
The
that
guy has a lot of
recap.
scarves. He has at least 2 scarves.
Are you sure that's not Stevie Nicks in the next live?
This very well
It is
could
a
be
new turning
Fleetwood
of the
Mac.
wheel.
And this does look like Dave Grohl.
Fleetwood Mac, they're all just going to go out there and bow and say
The
thank
growler.
you. The guy on the left looks a little Lindsey Buckingham-ish.
His hair's almost big enough. You can always tell what decade Fleetwood Mac's albums come out by the size of Lindsey Buckingham's hair.
Nice.
He wakes up in
I gotta go back and look at an 80s album now.
He
Oh,
wakes up
dude,
in the
it's
morning.
shaped. It's shaped like this, like flat top thing. It's crazy.
He's like, you can go your own way.
That's some stink eye. I love Isla, and her representation of the way of the
Yes.
leaf has just been touching our heart and souls. I think Brother Dan and I are so proud of how they're handling this story and how they're representing it. I think it's really amazing. And even though I didn't connect this backstory to that, right? Like I just felt like this was powerful stand alone. Like this whole notion that they're gonna non-violently put their bodies in harm's way to save. I imagine they knew that they're like running for their. I assumed that they knew Perrin and Egwene were just gonna run for it.
Well, that's the song though. They link up and sing the actual song that they're searching for. Remember the other flashback? There's the other flashback where they're singing with one of the green men.
Yeah.
And they're using that song to help them grow stuff. So that's like old. Yeah, that's Age of Legends old school.
Yeah, the song is the song you sing to your weed plants when you want them to like really flourish.
Hey, what song is that, Morgan? Can you sing a few bars?
The only time I ever grew weed, it didn't turn out real well. So
I don't want to work. I just want to grow my weed all day. All right, so I mean, the amount of detail in these outfits is astounding. Look at that work. These people are on screen for just seconds, and then they get the shit beat out of them, but they look amazing.
But you can't see blood stains on that, Ryan. That works.
It does.
That's important.
That looks like the coolest rug in college ever.
Yeah.
Did you watch the bonus or the bonus material that was talking about how they based the Tuathon's costuming on this tribe in Peru? They actually found a tribe in Peru that has very similar, like pacifistic. They're just really similar to the Tuathon. So they kind of, I guess, it's just some cultural appropriation, which I guess maybe isn't so nice. But yeah, anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised that it's based on something.
Yeah.
I think the whole show is. I mean, I don't know if it's a bad thing yet, or because in a lot of the videos we've seen, because they dropped like 3 different videos this past week, I think, of costumes, maybe even more than that actually. But they say like each culture that we see is a mix mash of all the cultures of the world, so it is like entirely cultural appropriation, but. In because cultural appropriation as a word is actually a neutral term, despite having very negative connotations.
That's fair.
But it's like because they're mixing them in such a way. I think. I mean, again, I'm a white woman, so I'm gonna take whatever. You can just ignore me if you disagree, because I'm probably wrong. But
me too. Me too.
My point is just that like they're appropriating, but very on purpose. Like they're not pretending that Land's not wearing Japanese, Chinese, and Korean influenced clothing. They're telling you that he is, and that the actor had an influence in that as well. They're telling you that everywhere you go, you will recognize things, but it won't ever be exactly what you think you're recognizing. Yeah, which I think is the main difference. But yeah,
and they're clearly making, and they can canonically justify it as this being on Earth. I mean, like, in this being a turning of an Earth-bound, peoples. I'm glad they didn't change that. All right, so
they did change something.
Yeah. So definitely, did you guys pick up on Padan Fane being in Tarvalon?
No.
Okay.
I did not.
I got him on the second. Oh, was it the whistle?
I heard the whistle.
I saw him. Like, I saw everybody, they're like, oh, you paid Padan Fane twice, and I was like, crap, I missed it. So I went back, and it was him sitting in that doorway. That was the first time I caught him, so.
All right, so we've identified this whistle is Padan Fane's, like, calling card, right?
Yep. Yeah,
However, we also did hear this whistle in Shadowlaguth. Was Fane in the city when Matt triggered the dagger?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just a feign or if it's a heads up. There's evil whistle. So.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It seems like they're very much linking them somehow. I just don't know if it, like, canonically makes sense, right? Like how they're linking them, because I was concerned when I heard, you see the shadow moving, and it's the whistle happens. Not necessarily when he sees the shadow in the corridor. It happens when he's already grabbed the dagger, and then the evil sand, which our first-time readers or non-readers call it, the evil sand starts moving. I think that's when we hear the whistle, correct?
You hear it before. You hear it as he sees like the shadow moving.
Is that when?
In the little alcove. Yeah.
Well, then he must have been there.
I don't know.
That's the only because they're linking him every time they play that whistle. They're linking him.
Yeah.
It's possible. Okay, so question, go back there. So the novices,
Why are these novices out walking around?
Yeah.
well, they were
Okay.
using
The parade.
they're in the band. They're the band novices. So I'm assuming that these ones like are just providing. I don't know. Maybe they have the batons or whatever because they had the drummers up the front. But
Oh, I thought those were accepted though. Like the ones doing the drums, I
okay.
thought were accepted.
So my question is, these ones have the white phylacteries around their arms. Do the ones in that walk past the Aes Sedai inside the tower, if I'm remembering correctly,
They have the same thing.
Are they gold though? Because I'm wondering if instead of doing the banded dresses, novices have white phylacteries and accepted
Okay.
have gold. I could be wrong, and maybe just But
Well, I just thought it because their dress was more
Yeah, okay,
ornate,
there they are.
because they had the gold and everything.
Oh, yeah, this shot I took because they clearly are like just kind of checking Moraine out. Like, should they think she's hot?
No.
How?
No, they definitely know who she is.
So wait,
Definitely
is the
know who
white?
she is.
All right.
That's
right.
a distracted boyfriend gif.
I mean, they probably
Yes!
also
It totally is. Get back to work. Accepted.
like,
Or novices. I don't know what they are, but yeah, like I
That's
didn't
totally-
get. I thought they were white bands. I thought they were white
Okay, they
bands.
may
for
have
sure.
been. I just, for some
And
reason,
what-
Was
Oh,
she
sorry.
hitting on Moraine here?
oh, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Well, actually, I think it's a power move. I think it's like, because if you read like the X-ray thing, there's something about how they have a history. So maybe they were pillow friends. If we're gonna continue.
Is
to
that
use
what they're getting at? Yeah,
terminology.
Yeah.
that
But,
seemed clear.
Then I think it's like now it's a power move because I
Yeah.
don't think Moraine. What I'm
Well-
hoping is Soiraine is like ship for life. Like I'm ready for that. That's Swan and Moraine, respectively. For those of you who do not know what I'm saying,
Isn't she also kind of? If you look behind what she's saying, she's also kind of trying to talk her into staying around in a way. Like, well, you keep leaving, and if you keep leaving, Nynaeve's gonna be gobbled up by someone else, and right. I almost felt like she was kind of trying to hint, like, why don't you stick around a little bit?
this is after she basically arranged for Nynaeve to slip out of the tower. So I think she's almost like mocking her a little bit, or
yeah, it felt like mockery to me. It felt like she was because that's like a very power move, very similar like Aemon Valda getting in Moraine's space in the second episode.
yeah.
Like this using space to make somebody else feel uncomfortable or feel like you have the upper hand because you're
Yeah.
not uncomfortable.
Then if that's the case, then I'm pretty disappointed in Moraine's response.
Because this scene is after basically Leandrin is like, oh, the libraries in the garden are that way. And then, the next thing you know, Nynaeve has shown up with Rand, and then Nynaeve and Rand are having a conversation where it's basically like, we don't need the Aes Sedai. And I'm like, okay, so is the next episode going to be what happened to Nynaeve? And we're going to have to be, searching for the Two Rivers people again because she and Rand, with the most distrust of the Aes Sedai, and then Matt, super paranoid now, have gone to ground in the city and are hiding. So yeah, I don't know, but she totally pushed that, and I don't know if she is like working with Padan Fane and he gave her the heads up that he saw the boys, or what exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Leandrin is like the
Good
female
point. Good
Joker.
point, Morgan.
But go back to that one picture, right? Yeah.
I mean, if she's trying to hit on Moraine, this is probably not the best like play. Go all crazy eyes is not the best play. I know. I've tried.
Yeah, and I mean, you said you were disappointed in Moraine's response, but Benjamin Reno's got kind of what I was thinking. The Kyrenian are reserved. Sorry if that's not how you were supposed to pronounce it. It's too late now. But that maybe like what we're getting is because she's playing the game of houses here. Like she's listening to what Leandrin's saying, and she's not going to give Leandrin anything other than kind of this passive flirtatiousness, because it doesn't tell you anything of what Moraine actually thinks of what she's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It kind
And
of leaves you in
Leandrin,
the dark.
yeah, and I was thinking Leandrin probably wants her there because if she does take a power move to the Amarillion seat, excuse me if I'm butchering the names, but takes the Amarillion seat, she probably wants to have Moraine there to at least hold her or capture her, because if she's out, she can draw power, she can get support outside of the tower. So on that level
God.
too.
Look at this wristlet or whatever this wrist
Gauntlet.
It's a bracer.
bracer.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like it
What does
looks
she
like
need that for?
it's
She's a fucking
totally
ace.
goth. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's totally job.
Like yeah,
it's a
to
gay
that
thing,
to
isn't
that
it?
end, why does Moraine need these fucking shoulder pads like a
Apparently
football
there's
player?
like Elizabethan or something. Jess from the Amerlin study has a whole breakdown about Moraine's dress when they released that picture of her in front of the windows of
Oh,
Tarvalin.
beautiful. Yeah.
It's really good. But yeah, it's sort of like the expression on her face is like, if she didn't have more self-control, she'd like, slap her hand away, like, don't touch, consent. Also, we broke up ages ago. When I realized how gross you were or whatever, or came to my senses. Because you obviously don't understand boundaries. You are not boundaries, Sadai, so it's just like, get away. But, she has self-control.
Boundaries and I.
But she's also looking at her like, you were a lot of fun.
I'm watching. I'm watching all of these like first-time reader reacts, or not reader people who don't read reacts, and so they have nicknames for all of them. And so one of them calls her Cheekbones Sadai.
One of them calls her Strong Jaw.
Just your Strong Jaw.
Strong Jaw.
Strong Jaw. Nice.
It's everyday Negroes say that.
Yeah, there's
They
a
call
really
Moraine Blue Queen, which I'm like trying to get. I'm trying to get that one caught
Yeah,
on because
Blue
she is a
Queen
Blue
is
Queen.
good.
Blue dream, baby queen.
yeah.
Ryan, we are going to dip into the controversy of the episode.
Let me prepare.
All right, so Rand meets Loial. I'm sorry, Loial.
With cheese.
Yeah, all right, there you go.
Thanks, sorry.
There are thoughts that I
Many.
have. There's good thoughts and bad thoughts, but I would like to hear your thoughts. Loial, I will continue to say Loial until it changes in my head, but Loial to me is one of the greatest fantasy characters ever written. He is iconic. He really does, in his own subtle way, propel this 14-book epic fantasy series. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Give me your thoughts about Loial, and we'll start with you, MrHowley.
I loved him.
Yeah,
I'm
Awesome.
sorry, I did. Was he introduced the right way? No. I thought there could have been a way better way for them to introduce him. But I mean, it's him. It's everything
where
I
are
kind
they
of
right now?
imagined about how his demeanor and how he actually portrays him is just spot on perfect. And I think somebody said it in another video or whatever, where it's like, it's amazing how he just continues to talk and people will start talking over him because he just rambles on. So like some of the nuances they did with him, I just spot on for me. I just love it.
Okay. All right. Let me write. All right, Caroline, what are your thoughts?
I'm more in the middle. I think Lesbian Nerdy had a really good kind of take on it, which was she said what I was trying to think of saying, was that he feels too human, while not being while also being too not human at the same time. Like I feel like he needs to be more extreme. Like those ears would have helped. Like it would have helped to have just some extra magical or fantastical element, because he feels almost human but with like weird features, which then makes him a bit more comical. I mean, of course, Loial is kind of comical, but if he was bigger, at least that it would be kind of in a more this is a new creature way, not in a the makeup team didn't have enough stilts to put on or something like that. And the hair is so intense as well.
And they basically admitted that it was a choice they had to make for budget wise. Like they couldn't CGI him every time he's on camera because he's on camera a lot. He's a big character. But then we hear that they spent like 30,000 hours on Egwene's dagger, which I don't even think we've seen yet.
Oh yeah,
and
you
it's like
see
what?
It's nice, but
It's not. Yeah, exactly right. Like, but like what? Why? It's like, can we have an opinion about the choices they're making? I think we can.
To me, it's like that's actually like a super simple move as well to show somebody larger. You see it in Harry Potter. You see it.
Yes.
In Elf. And they talked about it. All it is camera angles, and it's actually you can do it in your home with your iPhone. And
they did it in Elf. elephant.
Yeah,
one
it's
for
very
that.
that's a very good video if anyone wants to get into doing that sort of thing. I will say I did love Hamed's performance, and I did love his voice, and I did love the writing of his character. But it did take me 2 to 3 watches to really kind of accept that this was what we were going to get, because at first I thought it was just so cheesy. We were talking about how the Wheel of Time is cheesy, and Loial is definitely one of the cheesier aspects of the Wheel of Time. But when he's already such a cheesy character, for him then also to look really cheesy, I was like, whew, okay.
It was rough.
Swallow this one whole. Gotta do it.
It was rough. I felt like they did my boy dirty. I want to point out these lamps. Wow, look at these lamps. I didn't know these at first. And where do we think they are?
They're in the library.
The
It's blessing.
Is that
And no Basil Gill.
okay?
Yeah.
So that's just the okay. Be nice.
The
if
other
they-
thing I'll comment that I liked about him is, and again, I agree with you, or I respect what you guys are saying, because I could see it. It is hard. But the one thing that I love that they did with his makeup is they kind of made him look wooden or tree-like, which I really dug, because in my mind, I never envisioned him being like that tree type of. I thought of him more definitely wide open and not looking like bark. But I thought that was cool on how they kind of morphed it that
all right.
way.
I didn't make that connection at all.
Look at these green books. Sorry, real quick, green books, guys. Green books.
Yeah, those are books about Marxism.
Those are really
All right,
books.
all right. Let me give my 2
Wait,
cents.
you didn't
about
even
Loial.
ask me,
I'm
dude.
I'm sorry. Fuck.
We suck at this.
Dan's so eager to talk shit.
Hi, Morgan. Tell us about Loial, please.
So when the next day I went on Twitter and I saw all the raging happiness about Loial, I was like, I'm gonna have to cut a whole section out of my video because I didn't say a lot of flattering things. I
Yes.
was not particularly happy, and yeah, a lot of people, and I'm such a huge fan of the show and I love so much about it, and this
Me
was a
too.
really good episode, but it had some moments of serious weak writing, and I think it partly had to do with the fact that they didn't have enough time, so they parsed out Basil Gill, and it's like, so you don't have any kind of narrative to get them set up in the inn, and the Loial finding
But we know about Steppen's dad.
Loial finding Nynaeve. I mean, that's serious world building though, and it's also like all this foreshadowing, so I'm not upset about that necessarily, but like watching it a second time, him finding Nynaeve made more sense, because it's like the scene before is Leander basically being like, the library and the gardens are that way, and then the next thing it's like, okay, he was in the library and he found her, and immediately, because he knows all this kind of stuff, was like, oh, you're from the Two Rivers, I just met somebody, so that makes sense going back and looking at it. But
this does not look like a monster. This just looks like a dude.
Yeah, but
this looks like a dude with a big nose.
But he's so as far as his makeup and stuff, I don't really mind that. I'm more about like he just seemed a little bit too hasty. Like his need to, he interrupts, and I just like Loial does not strike me as someone who would interrupt anybody. MMA. Maybe part of my issue is that Loial is not one of my favorite characters, and so I'm just kind of like, I don't know that I would have been unhappy if they had cut him. I don't think he's necessary to the narrative necessarily.
Oh my god, I'm vomiting in my mouth right now!
Blasphemer!
But at the same time, it's kind of like, I'm more concerned about like what they're doing with the writing that is making the show go forward successfully, which is one of the reasons why I'm so interested in watching the non-reader reacts, because the more I watch those, the more I see how brilliant the changes that they're making are, and people really like Loial.
Yeah.
They're happy to see a different
Sure,
species, and so I'm like, okay, his actual, dress and stuff, I don't mind. I wish he looked bigger. That was one of the reasons why when I saw the still of everybody in front of the Waygate, I was like, where's Loial? Because this like puffy-haired, curly-haired ginger couldn't be Loial.
Yeah. I used to say he was Fat Beck. I was like, he looks like Fat Beck.
But yeah, I just felt
I'm
like
an Ogier, baby.
I felt like the timing, he just felt too hasty. His the running along, continuing to talk, that makes sense. But the interrupting, that was just, I'm like, that's so not something he would do. So.
Well, and I've always had a contention that the boys do mistreat Loial. They don't have the patience for him. And Rand was right on character with that.
Yep, he was.
I mean, this is a new species. He was like, oh, shit, Stedding, you're an Ogier? And then he's like, that's right, He's like, yeah, enough of that. Yeah.
I gotta go, man. I gotta go. Yeah. I'm out.
He's like, I gotta split. He's like, let me go with you. And Ogier going with you. No, I gotta. Yeah, I'll meet you outside.
I feel like Rand drawing his sword was completely believable because Loial is obviously not human, and Rand is in a position where he can absolutely be suspicious of anybody coming up on him, and Loial doesn't seem to appreciate personal space, and he does a lot of poking with his fingers when he talks, so it's just sort of like, which is, fine, that's just kind of what Hamad chose to do with his,
was he
characterization.
Obviously not human?
I thought so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they immediately tell you that he's not human based off of Rand's response, and then him being like, "You're an ogre." Oh, I'm Ogier.
Yeah, and he goes, and he keeps saying, "You humans." Like one of his first things is like, "Oh, you humans."
Nicely done.
You humans are so hasty.
Right,
in your
and
thoughts.
I think that those are qualifiers because it's not readily defined. I mean, it's all right. Another thing, is this his bookstore?
No, it's the library
the
of the Queen's
library in the
Blessing.
yes, totally.
I thought, so in my head, Rand had just entered this bookstore, and Loyal's like, "Hey."
Yeah, they say there's no bad questions, but Dan just proved that wrong. All right, where's our mods? We're getting porn.
Yes,
hold on.
Mods, get in there.
How can you strip without clothing?
No.
The problem with our mods is they're all like clicking on the links. Come on,
And,
get
we have a mod. One of our mods is on our show.
But
It's a
I
well-known
need to
thing
watch-
that Loial is a huge topic for the more kinky side of the Wheel of Time thing. So I'm not
I mean,
surprised.
those
it's
fingers
happening.
are.
Yeah, there's a lot. Of
yeah.
We're gonna go
Loial-
downhill quick now.
Loyal's half-price books.
So I need to go through and watch the whole episode again. I think I've watched it twice, and then I've seen like the bits that people chop up as they do their reacts. I need to watch it again because when I watch again, I appreciate the writing more, and I think I'll probably appreciate his character more. But yeah, my original reaction was I wasn't happy about that, and I did feel like there were some bits of kind of lazy writing. But I don't know that it's fair to say that it's lazy writing when they're having to try to pack so much in, and it felt like the focus of this episode was like world building or character building and foreshadowing with the whole thing with Lon and Moraine, and so.
But in the meantime, hey Rand, I found Nynaeve for you. You didn't even ask.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that actually, when I went back and watched it, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that actually was set up. That actually wasn't lazy writing. It was just really,
Yes.
really subtle.
It was,
Yeah.
but
Very-
it was too
yes.
fast.
I would disagree that it wasn't lazy writing, though, only on the sense that that's what you do when you're in a corner and you're like, okay, well, we have to cut this scene now, so we've got to get this dialogue in so that we can justify the fact that we no longer have the screen time. And that's
Okay.
what it felt like to me, because like you did have to watch it twice to
Yeah.
catch it, which should
That's
not.
fair.
So
Most
I've been
watchers
thinking
don't
about
watch
this.
it.
Here would have been the perfect way to segue into that. So, Leanne, nope, Ryan.
Well,
give
no,
me a
actually,
minute. Ryan,
to
give
the-
me a minute.
no, I
Ryan,
want to
give me a
actually
minute.
talk about that point specifically,
give me a
not
minute.
what?
All right.
Hey, can we
All right.
separate you two, please?
All right.
I think
Yeah,
you
yeah.
two need to be
I
separate.
didn't want to
There you go,
interrupt you
there you go.
interrupting
Come
me,
on.
but
They're-
Sorry. You
Mr.
two are
Howley in
separate.
his vice principal role.
Yes. Come on.
All right,
Opposite
first
side
off,
of the room.
I want to say thank you to Dan Liu for reporting that account.
Thanks.
Our mods
Thanks.
are badass. And your last point, Carolina, can you repeat your last point? I forgot what I wanted to say.
Well, let me
What?
talk then. You think of your point. So
No, I
here's Ryan, let's. This is a conversation, not a.
Oh no! Okay, now I get it. So you're saying like if something to the effect that it's too subtle that it's not effective, right?
Yeah. Pretty
Okay,
much,
and
yeah.
and I want to point out that like Game of Thrones, when it was good, was rife with too subtle, but it created this whole economy of people trying to piece it all together in a fun way, and I thought it was like balanced both the puzzle and the entertainment value really successfully. I'm not And so I used to be very concerned that all this was too subtle. But now I'm learning that it's just the #1 stream show like almost ever or something like that. It's breaking records.
Yeah,
so it's like it's not. So obviously they're doing something right. So the balance that they're holding of the too subtle and entertaining is working for the world. And I think for me personally, I love how subtle this stuff is because it gives us this kind of world where we could puzzle it out and talk about it endlessly.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No,
Oh.
go ahead.
In fairness, RJ did write a book series where when you finish it and go back and reread it, you find so much more because his writing is incredibly subtle, but he manages to keep it entertaining enough that you get it through even though you miss so much stuff. So I guess that you're being true to that with some of the television writing. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, subtle and what you're saying, like Game of Thrones, subtle is not the same as subtext. And what I mean is like in this situation where it's just because we're like, how did we get from here to here? It's not like we're not getting new interesting information from it. We're just being kind of like, I think it doesn't in the end actually greatly affect the story and you still get where you need to go. And for a moment you're like, what? But then you kind of like, oh, whatever.
That's a fair point too.
It's not like, to me, it's just like, it's not like they're doing something clever with this scene. Whereas like what you're saying, like where there's subtle things where, you know, that we're already seeing so many things where they could probably have later implications, like you were saying, Morgan, about hearing about Steppen's dad. Like maybe there will be something on later on that that is kind of the subtlety I would be interested in.
There's a payoff for that. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Exactly. Like
I get what you're saying. When Loial just kind of mumbles under his breath, well, she's got a braid, and that's the typical turning of age moniker of a Two Rivers woman. So yeah, when he does that is really just a subtle way of explaining shit that they probably should have actually shown a scene of him meeting her or something,
exactly.
right? Like,
so I have it perfect, Ryan. Here it was.
I'll be the judge of that.
It was set up perfectly in the show. So Leandrin speaks with Nynaeve. She's like, "Why don't you take a walk? The garden out here is beautiful. There's persimmons, right?" So here's my scene.
Wait, now how? Okay, no, yeah, go. Yep.
Stop interrupting. We cut to a garden. Carolina, I'm pitching to you. You're the director. We cut to a garden. Nynaeve is walking around. She sees a tree. She goes to reach up to a fruit. Leandrin walks up. Have you ever tried a persimmon? She goes, no, we don't have them in the Two Rivers. She goes, and at that time, Loial's walking by like in the background. And she's like, oh, you really got to try one. She plucks one. She whips out a knife. She goes to cut one and give her a slice. Loial, hearing Two Rivers, he walks up and he's like, that braid. I have Randall Thor's. And she goes, Randall Thor. And she goes, take me to him now. And she leaves. And Leandrin's sitting there cutting the persimmon herself. She takes a bite and she looks cheekbone curiously as they leave.
Ooh,
that way she hears the name. She hears
Randall
the name Randall
Thor.
Thor. We get Nynaeve and Leandrin a little bit more with that. Nynaeve bolts on her and Leandrin's like, And yeah, I think we could have spent 2 minutes doing that instead of carrying bodies all over the place.
Yeah.
Or burning rings. We could have burnt the ring. The ring ceremony we could have probably done without, right? I mean, if we needed to cut it.
Why did they even do that? Like the whole what is it, Lord of the Rings thing where they put the ring in and it melted? I was like, why would you put that type of imagery in for your show? And then like, why couldn't he take the ring and like go and they have a ceremony where he gives it back to the head of the Green Aja or something like that?
Or they all blast it with power and it shatters.
Because his Aes Sedai was the head of the Green Aja and she died.
Oh no, she was, but she was she? Is she the battle? I didn't think she was the battle general.
She was the captain general.
Ryan, you can come back. I was done with my scene.
My bad.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's why they did that anyways, though, because it seemed clearly that it was a tradition that they do for all Aes Sedai. So I think you're still right that the lava thing looks a lot like Lord of the Rings. I would actually bet that they did that as an ode to Lord of the Rings. I would almost say they did that on purpose because they want to draw that imagery.
They would have to because I mean, it was just like, oh, why? But that's a great angle, so I'll ruminate on that one. And I'll probably.
I'm not saying I
accept
like
it.
that. It's just I think if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, maybe you'd be like, oh yay, I missed my lava mountain.
Well, I'm not hearing many people talk about this scene, but I think that when Lan and Steppen are talking, and Steppen is giving his background, I mean, sure, his dad and all that, but the fact that he says, quote, I had to become worthy of her. I told her no, and she insisted, kind of thing. That scene, I think, really was a staple for old Steppen boy. I liked it. So they haven't seen each other for 20 years, but they're still best bros. They're like
2 years.
2? I thought it was 20.
No, 2.
When?
No, she said 2.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like you've been gone for 20 years.
No, when they come back into the
2
tower,
years.
there's
Shit,
a
I
mention
haven't
of
seen
2.
That's about how often I see my sister, so that's fine.
There you go.
Yeah, 20 years is when they started their quest, is what Moraine says. But I didn't catch a 2 years thing, but it's good to be
yeah.
that number.
No, I heard the 2 year thing.
Yeah, because they were leaving the tower at the very beginning of episode 1, and she mentions now this child is coming of age.
Oh,
So-
see, that's actually a really good thing to note, because I was like, why are we in the tower right now in the first scene? Which is like goes into a theory where I think the first episode, I think most people have said this, and even Rafe has kind of confirmed it, that it was meant to be a lot longer. And Rosamund has said that they refilmed that whole first sequence was something they refilmed
Yeah.
to make it work. I mean, she doesn't say to make it work with the hour and a half, but I think they did that because they were like, well, the sequence we wanted to have won't work with an hour-long version, so...
Yeah, I think originally it was supposed to start out with Padan Fane looking at the 2 rivers like a much more organic, cold open. I don't know that it counts as a cold open when you start out as like with narrative like that, does it? It seems like I don't know enough about TV to know that, but I didn't like the way it started. I thought the first 2 scenes of the first episode were not great.
I agree.
Me neither.
Well, one of the original scripts actually have her. Who's the woman who does the foretelling with the milk white eyes?
Guitarra.
Guitarra. Basically, that's the scene where Moraine's standing next to her, and they're having a conversation, and all of a sudden she's like, "Ah, the dragon's been reborn!" She starts freaking out. Like that was in one of the original scripts.
In fact, we did a table read of that, Ryan.
Yeah, we did. I was a great Galena. Oh man,
You were great.
it was
You're so good.
I just sound like I was just wheezing the whole time.
Let's talk about the Whitecloak's treatment of Egwene.
Yeah,
That was
really
an
rough.
uncomfortable scene.
Really
It
rough.
was really uncomfortable.
They brush out her braid,
Just so disrespectful.
which the braid itself was symbolic of her being never alone, and they brushed that out.
No, that's a nice way. I didn't think about it like that. That's cool.
Think about it yeah.
That actually kind of reminds me of your point earlier about Perrin and Mar, like when you talked about how Perrin is going from the self he was, but with murdering his wife and all that crazy shit, and now he's becoming Wolf Boy and accepting that he is now moving into a different version of himself and accepting the things he's done. And now with Egwene with her braid, it's also a semblance of her letting go of the 2 rivers. So maybe in a way they're both moving into a new
Wonder Twin
life.
powers activate. That's awesome. I never thought of it from that angle. That's an awesome
really
angle.
great. Yep.
Yeah, I was wondering if she's going to keep her hair down because it's sort of like, it seems like she has it unbraided in a traumatic moment, so why would you keep it down?
Yeah.
I thought the scene was well done. I was terrified for a second that they were actually going to go all Game of Thrones, and then when they made it into this creepy purifying ritual instead, I was deeply thankful because it was creepy and uncomfortable, but it was sort of like, it was shot very respectfully in its own way. I read an article where Madeline Madden talked about it. She said that it was filmed very respectfully, that she got to pick the men who did that, and that the worst part about it was just the brushes after a while got a little rough. But it was just sort of like, it was a horrible and uncomfortable scene, but it was just sort of like it it didn't feel like overkill. It felt like really giving
Right.
an idea of exactly
Yep.
name
How bad it
and
was
fault
and how
It
intimate
was
it was, but without,
emotionless.
yeah.
With the asshole patrol.
Yeah.
God.
with our baristas. I actually
Yeah.
think this is like a very good point that you're kind of making, is that like it balanced really well, not becoming Game of Thrones. And there's like a few places they're doing this. Like even like I think this actually reminds me kind of the Lan and Moraine relationship in a weird way, that they're really balancing on this knife edge between what you expect and what they're
Jesus.
giving you. And
Yeah.
they're doing a really good job of like everyone, even the non-readers that watch it are like, oh, are they romantic? Because they see two hot people and think that they will be. Or, and then they watch this and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, are they going to do something? Because that's what usually would happen. But then the show doesn't go that way, and they do a really good job of like not going that way and also not leading you that way and making you feel like you were going to get something that you didn't. And like, not that you ever, any of that would ever be satisfying, but more that like, they're not misleading you. It's just that you mislead yourself, and then they kind of show you actually,
Right, yeah.
this is the tone. This is the tone we're going for.
But
And,
I don't.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I don't think that they would or will ever go that way, because RJ was so incredibly uncomfortable, with that particular topic, and so he just like barely alluded to it, in the stories, and just kind of like acknowledged it just enough to be realistic, but it. I feel like to him it was just like the most evil thing ever, and so it was like he let it happen to the men basically, and just kind of because he just was so uncomfortable with it, which I'm suspecting is because of his wartime experiences, and it's just kind of like so, and I think that to be true to him, they're not going to go that way with this.
Do you think they'll take out some stuff? Like, this is actually a general question. Do you think they'll take out, because there's a few places like with Morghese and with Matt that we have questionable, not questionable, Morghese was definitely rape and so was Matt's, but like, do you think that they'll lean into it and just be like, this is what actually happened, or do you think they'll instead change it? Because I was wondering, because they said that Matt likes cougars, so I'm already anticipating a change there.
Yeah, I'm anticipating a change with that
The
too,
cougar
because
angle.
when he
I thought you liked beavers. Oh, I mean, badgers.
Badgers, dude, you went right there. You went right there.
You see what I deal with every day, MrHowley.
That was not a Freudian slip. You did that. You did that.
So low hanging fruit.
Yeah, it was.
It's right in the face.
All right, I'll go. I'll get a session. Sorry, it's been a while.
Yeah, I'm wondering because they early on suggest that Matt is into older women, that they're gonna get rid of the Thailand stuff, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know. I'm almost glad, because it's just sort of like it's so uncomfortable and controversial, and I
I love you guys.
Kudos to you.
My people.
Oh, man.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know about whether they're gonna put it in. I really feel like that was kind of like a foreshadowing to lead into maybe a consensual relationship with her, or maybe they're just gonna cut that out entirely for brevity's sake.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
would be
know.
hard to cut out the Morghese one, so I'd be interested to.
That we already know that Eamonvalda is horrible, so it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with us knowing this Whitecloaks now, so if we go along the route of the Trekans, if we're gonna have the boys, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to have someone who is anyway charismatic join the Whitecloaks as we see them. They are torturing evil dudes on horses. So I don't know.
What?
Does Galad have charisma?
Is that something I missed?
But he was never a bad. He was never a bad guy.
Wait, let me look at the book.
Every Whitecloak is a bad guy.
Yeah, he's a good person. Then I was wondering that too. It seems like there's no way he could justify to himself at that point joining them, because they're just so actually awful.
Well, how about this though? Does everyone know what this fucker's doing? Because you always get the impression that the questioners, right? Like people,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you don't know what's going
all the
on behind closed doors, but they know they're effective, right? Like that whole thing.
Right.
Yeah,
They're
he
the
has 7
SS.
rings.
Yeah, the
And
Jeff from Bornhold we met seemed like a pretty chill dude. I mean, he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there's Aes Sedai in the other town," and I was like, "Really?"
Right,
'Cause
wouldn't that
your dude
weird?
decides he was a murderer. So
Yeah,
what?
they made him nicer or more reasonable than he would have been, because I feel like in the canon of the books, him in front of Eamon Valda telling someone to go find an Aes Sedai to get healed, that would be something where a questioner could order him to be actually
questioned, yeah.
arrested,
Right,
you know, for
that's a good
that.
point.
Yes, that's what I thought immediately. Like, oh my god, that's a risky move.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're gonna try to show the divide in the White Cloaks as way more kind of stern than it is in the books.
But
They're
Bornhold would-
Do you think they'll be start factioning off, and like all of a sudden a group of them will like just shave their mustaches and break away?
Well, you know, that kind of is what happens with Galad. Like he like comes in and then he has to like go against the entire order to get it back into order. Well,
Ooh.
Oh
In the-
yeah.
All right, everybody, take a second with that one.
yeah.
In the books, we have the White Cloaks be more against Dark Friends, those against the Light. In the show, it seems that they are pretty much just killing Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
Even Valda for sure.
Ish. I mean, we haven't seen like any other thing that they do, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, this is a hot take by BR.
BR.
I'm really happy you guys brought this up. But Bornhold is a good leader and a good man, and he would have every man at his back in a heartbeat, and Valda knows this.
That's
Do we
fair.
agree with that the notion that Bornhold is a good man? I think he's a good leader.
Yeah.
I think within the books he is.
I think
I
he's a
mean,
good
Like
man.
he's
yeah.
the one who had a level head. He's not going into each village and trying to wipe them out or root out unnecessary evil. He's usually a pretty chill guy when it comes to that stuff.
So early on, when you get into Bornhold's thoughts, you see that he sees within his own institutional structure that they are lying, that the
Yeah.
Inquisitors are using methods that aren't light driven, and that they're getting answers that they want out of the people that he's giving them to. You learn that, and he's still, I think, selfishly motivated in such a way to keep working within this corrupt system to try and get his glory. I don't think Bornhold's a good person at all. I think he's a great leader. I just don't think he was a good person. I think he's always
Just because he's complicit is what you're saying.
complicit in horrifying things, and I've
Well,
always
true.
I didn't know if he actually believed anything that the Children of the Light believe in.
I think he did. I think he was just though, right? He wasn't immediately calling everybody out as being guilty. I mean, it was just like, okay, they're not a dark friend. We don't need to terrorize them and psychologically put them down so they'll fear us every time they see us. Like, I didn't envision him in the books that way.
I mean, didn't he threaten what's his bucket?
He was just slightly less
who's
violent.
that-
I'm not saying the guy, anybody in the light
Yeah.
is an asshole, right? But I'm just saying as far as his leadership and tactics.
Yeah, I just didn't
would,
think he was. I thought he
agree
was.
with Reno.
Yeah. He wasn't a zealot, which is interesting because he is a leader of a zealotric. No, it's not a word. Yeah, he was the leader of a full-on like cult of zealots.
Zealous.
Oh, zealots. Okay.
Zealostrious.
We're talking about Bornhold, right? Not Pedro Nile, right? Like, just to be clear.
Wait, who am I talking about? I might be.
Bornhold
flipping-
is just because Bornhold was he was the one that had Perrin in his camp in the first book, but he was always fair to Perrin, and he only had to keep Perrin because Perrin did murder his
I might be thinking of
soldiers.
Niall.
Yeah,
Damn it.
And
Child
Niall
buyer
is
one.
definitely more gray, but Bornhold always stayed very, very.
All right,
kind
guys,
of
I
clear
suck. My
to
bad.
No, I mean, but
No,
he was.
thank you,
It's still
Caroline.
definitely a question because even though he is, a white cloak, he is always like questioners are fucked up. And there's like one time when he's in Arid Doman, I think, when he was sent there by somebody who's actually a dark friend, which we find out later. That their questioners have been going through and like torturing people, and he's like, "What the fuck is this? Like, who do I tell about this?" But he like does actually act on it and like tries to change things.
What she said. because I didn't say it right.
And then Bornhold even goes into Falme and supports. Like he goes in to die, and he has Bayer watch, but Bayer then reports it in a weird way to Niall, making it seem like he was like that Bornhold was an idiot and all these things. But yeah, so I think Bornhold, the one we've seen, if that is Bornhold, he's actually a good guy. He's just like somebody that is in a religious group that has flawed ideas, but he's actually there because of he's like Galad in a lot of ways. Like he actually believes in the good aspects of what the Whitecloaks are meant to represent.
Okay, yeah. Now I was thinking Niall the entire time I was blabbering on and on. Sorry.
Well, I saw somebody in here somebody said something about him in Amadisia, and I was like, he was dead on dead when Morghese was in Amadisia. So
yeah.
Then that made me realize that might have been the problem.
Hey, can we take a second real quick and say hi and thank you to everyone who's been watching and sticking with us. It is so much fun, and we're having a great time talking together and engaging with you. I'm seeing a lot of new names in chat, and we would just love it if you would hit that subscribe button. And
the more people in chat, it really is a more engaging show for all of us.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate y'all here, and of course I appreciate our on-screen guests as well.
All right,
so
thank you.
Maybe because I really feel like because Morghese's plotline is not necessary to the show in any way, and trimming it off would be super useful. It's best probably if she just dies. So if Eamon Valda kills her, burns her at the stake for the fact that she is tower trained, and she can technically channel a teeny bit, that would work better, frankly. It would be less icky, and it would just work better.
Shit, I forgot she could channel a little bit.
All right, and would Rand still be framed for it?
I don't know. If they combine Gowan and Galad into one person, and maybe he'll be, slightly more fun-loving and slightly less of a moronic douche. So I don't know.
That's the thing. Like maybe he doesn't have to be framed for it if there is no Morghese.
There was the logic of having Gowan. That was one of Robert Jordan was not a flawless writer, and the logic of that was like totally failed right from the get-go, because when Egwene is telling Gowan no he didn't, and he's like, do you have proof? She right there had proof of being like, yeah, I was there when he found out that your mom was killed, and he was real fucking upset about it, but she doesn't tell Gowan that, and that was right there like a flaw. So the need to have Gowan be mad at Rand for that was just like it was there was no real basis for it.
And guess what? Hot take, Gowan is awesome in the first 3 books. He's like in my top 5. He is like a bro. Every time he's cool with Matt. Matt kicks his ass, and he walks over and gives him coin. He's like, I won't estimate a farmer again. You're awesome. You're awesome.
I do like that scene.
He helps Rand when Rand falls into the thing. He's like, he stops the guards, and he's like, don't worry about it. My mom won't cut off your head in this room. Probably. He's the coolest. The Gowan hate begins when he earns it, but he doesn't earn it in these 3 books so far.
Post fracture of the tower is when Gwaine starts turning. In my head, he does.
I think Nables has a good video on him as well. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying when he went in, they were called the younglings or something. That's when I thought his arc started going down.
I think it's one of those things where it's actually, like, you hate to say it, but I think Gowan's just a poorly written character in the last few books. And Nables has a video where he kind of explains if somebody's poorly written, or if we just don't like them for reasonable reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, some characters get occasionally failed with characterization, and that just happens. I feel like Elaine gets failed with characterization occasionally. Her being like insane, insanely stupid with her babies thing. I mean, that's just not the Elaine that earlier on. She's smart, far more intelligent, has much better critical thinking skills than that, and I just find that is like a very silly thing to do to her. So yeah, I think combining Gowan and Galad would be, it's a good idea. She doesn't really need to have 2 brothers, and I don't know, it just seems simpler.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that one always does what's right, regardless.
Are they gonna have Elaine actually be an initiate of the tower?
I
like,
think they're gonna meet her in the White Tower.
novice.
Actually.
Yeah,
Like
I think
in the
so.
books.
I think
Yeah,
so.
what was it? There was an article saying that they did the standing set specifically for Tar Valon because over the 8-season arc, if they get to 8 seasons, but over that arc, a majority of the shots are going to be in Tar Valon, and that's why they nixed Camelin in the first one.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Okay, so they're focusing more on her being Aes Sedai rather than being a queen.
That's my
Okay.
guess as well. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
then Morghese will stay alive and just keep ruling. I don't know.
Well, it was weird. Like, why did they have, like, for the Forsaken? Because I keep thinking of, what's his name? Raven
Steppen.
Gabrielle or whatever. Yes, thank you. You're like my interpreter. I'm so bad at names.
Yeah. You know
But,
that one, Red? Yeah, I do.
The sad guy.
But I lost my thought. I'm sorry. My bad.
The Forsaken. The Forsaken in his altar.
Oh, the Forsaken. Yeah, the whole thing with the Forsaken. Like, why would you have those dolls?
Oh,
Like,
I
why
love
would
that.
you carry around your, like, Forsaken dolls? Like, hey, here are the evil people. Let's play with them.
I think
It's
Well-
very
Get that.
Santeria. So this was to ward off by sacrificing to something and having the image of them. He specifically said that he does not want Ishmael, correct? The betrayer,
Right, yeah.
the father
And
of
he
lies.
was doing the
he calls
wave
him.
of the smoke into him. Yeah, I said.
Yeah,
okay.
he had like some sage. He
Yeah.
was burning hippie sage.
He's doing the same.
Yeah, he's totally doing sage burning. Smells like my house when my sister-in-law lived here.
Yeah. Well,
Weed and
hey,
sage.
at least you don't got spirits, huh?
Yeah,
But that is so. I think that's what it was. Instead of burning two, I mean, I don't know if they have iconography of the creator. They don't have a Jesus statue. They don't have Buddhist things. They don't have Ganesh. It seemed like to me that they were burning to ward off the talisman they had in front of him. So he was focusing directly on Ishmael, but he had all 9 of them. Was there 9?
There were 8.
8 of them.
All right, so which? No, let's say it. Let's just talk about it. Do we now think there are going to be 8 Forsaken?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
No. But okay, I get it.
Is that Mogideon?
That's got to be Samuel because he's
Yeah,
short and got a
Samuel.
beard, and he looks squinty because he's like his eye.
Yeah, let's do the name that
All
statue.
right.
All right.
Statue.
Name that.
So-
name that. Forsaken.
I think it's
Yay.
actually like a legit thing in certain types of religions that you ward off evil spirits. I think this is a thing that people do in certain religions. So I
Okay,
think
that's cool.
All right, let's ask
Like I
chat.
didn't know. Like that's to me that was kind of a foreign concept. So it's
Yeah.
cool. I'll do some digging on that as far as religion
Yeah.
is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I got Satan posters all over my walls. All right, so
Oh,
hey,
they're now called the Great 8.
The great
all
eight.
right, yeah, this
I
is.
thought this was a brilliant scene because it's like you've only heard of a Shamael once, so having them laid out there so that you know
Oh, they're
that there
saying
are
it's
more.
Samael.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Samuel.
totally. I would agree.
All
with
right,
that.
so first off, let me just point out there, Amazon, please. I'll spend so much money on if you can let me buy these. I want.
Yeah, I want a little.
I want
a
them to
whole
be
bunch
like a
of Forsaken.
fucking foot tall each. Like, please.
I want
Some
Forsaken soap on a rope, dude.
All right,
Soap
so
on a rope.
Oh,
I
that's
wash my
amazing.
ass with
Yeah,
Samuel.
get him those statue heights.
You want to
like the
smell like
sangria.
Asmodean?
all right, he does not look happy. So chat's saying this is a Shamael. Everyone else is agreeing.
No, it's
No,
Samuel.
Samael.
Samael. I'm
That's
sorry.
Samael.
All right, next.
Next, who's this?
That's a Shamael.
That's a.
Yeah. Right.
All right,
in
what do
that
you think,
funny-
MR?
Yeah, that's him.
I'm
I
thinking
gave
it's
it-
Damage
That's the one they tell us because he like does his little
Yeah.
thingy around
And
it.
and the person's wearing a mask. It looks like it's wearing a mask.
I
All right,
thought
well,
there
let-
was another one that kind of had more burnt eyes, though. I think there's another one that looks more like who.
Oh
we're
my
seeing.
gosh, he has the same
Oh,
glory
Baphomet.
hole as the thing in the wall.
So,
Yes.
The glory hole on the rocks. Remember when we were
Holy cow!
examining
Was
the-
that a monument to Dark Friend?
Maybe.
I,
Isn't that the same
bro, I
mouthpiece?
said that, bro.
I kind of want to fuck it.
Bro,
Bro, give me some.
Bro.
All I want is credit from you, Dan, and you never listen.
Right, you're the best.
All right, now who is this? Well, I don't know. Let me get a better
Shame.
one.
Lanfear.
I think that's
Shame.
All right,
fair, yeah.
so this is, I think, Fire Eyes.
Yeah,
No,
that's fire.
that's Asmodean. He's got a guitar.
What?
Oh, really? Oh, look at that.
What? He's got a.
Yes, it's
Look
crazy.
at that was a freaking.
Oh my God! He's got a Rickenbacker.
Oh my gosh, it's a hollow body. That's
Old
What
school,
the
like,
fuck?
That's an old
Is that
school
6
Les
or
Paul
12
right
strings?
look.
I think that's a classic 6-string. This might be electric.
That's
Yeah.
Look at them.
I think it's got a whammy bar.
They got bone frets.
legends, so.
Holy shit!
A whammy bar.
It has a whammy bar? Does it have little knobs? Oh, that's awesome!
Look at this on the. Yeah, look at that.
Oh my
Oh
god.
shit!
Oh
that's
my
so
God.
cool.
Was he in Led Zeppelin?
Asmodean and Hendrix.
Asmodean was
all
having
right,
a
all right.
So well
Experience.
spotted.
All right, so who's back here?
I
I'm
think it might be.
Oh, is that
Simurgh.
Mugadin or whatever?
No,
There's-
Simurgh's later the other way.
Samurais.
Simurgh, I think, is on the other
Samurai
side.
is to the right, right? Is it-
Gideon?
No, I think Simurgh is the one with like that collar, but
Is
she's.
that Agony?
Bilal?
Yeah, the right next door.
I'll just throw names out there.
Ravine?
Ravi?
Are we sure that's not a female
Lanfear?
Forsaken?
I can't tell if it's female or male.
Yeah.
It looks
so let's call it-
I would guess female.
We don't know who they
by
are.
the cheekbones. She has Leandrin cheekbones.
Yeah, that's true.
She does. Does it?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
she does.
She's catching the light with one of them.
But like
And
her.
a rosebud mouth.
No, this is like a triangle.
You're tracing the mouth.
This is like a weird triangle shape. This is
That's
weird.
origami. That.
All right, can you see my little arrow?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know. I'm like, oh, can you see what I'm doing here?
All these are sex toys. No, right.
I had no idea. All right,
No
love
idea
this.
who
That
that
looks like a
is.
Chewbacca with boobs.
Definitely.
All right, is this Lanfear?
That's
That is
Grendel.
Grendel, no doubt.
When I
Oh,
first
okay.
saw
The
that,
face, that looks
when
like
I first saw
Loial.
that, though,
Is
I
that-
thought it was summer.
Wow, does
Loial.
she have- look at that like flaming vagina she's got down there.
The flame of Tarvalon has never looked so good.
That's North Harbor, baby.
No other.
That's so funny. I had no idea you could see my arrow. Okay,
There's so
all right.
many
So
other
I think that
directions.
covers it all.
Wait, you
Name.
didn't-
Oh,
Hey.
no, there's
No,
more.
there
So
are
wait,
more.
I
So
can't. Well, I didn't get a
you don't-
picture of all of them. I thought. I
There's
did the
another
best
one
I
right
can.
there.
Oh, here we go.
There,
Here we
there.
go. Here we go.
That's who I think is Simurgh.
All right.
the
So
one.
Who's-
what
here's
about
a-
Asmodean? Because she's got spider webs on her below.
Okay.
Where? Oh,
And
this
what's
so
the
down
next
here.
one?
Yeah.
This right here.
Yeah.
That's what getting.
Yeah.
That's like an egg, a spider egg sack right
She
there.
looks like a spider. And then that is
I think it's
Wait,
Simurgh.
wait. This looks like a spider.
like,
Oh, no, like
yeah,
they
yeah,
did-
that,
like
that
a big
is.
fat
That's
body
Smoggy.
spider.
Oh man, is that what they just called fat women back then? Spiders?
I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
Oh man,
just wondering.
spider. Hey, look at that spider.
Hey, look at that spider. Oh, look at it. She's shaped like a spider.
I'd crawl on that spider.
She's all big, all round belly.
I'd like to get those legs around me.
Hey, let me get in that egg sack.
All right, who's this? Who's this beauty? Is this Lan?
I think that's Simurgh.
Where's Lanfear?
Lanfear, we already
Lanfear was the
saw
other
it.
one.
With the diamond.
She's got
So
diamond
can this
mouth.
be? So can this one be Summerhage then?
That's who I think it is.
Yeah.
She looks
Simurghage?
like, she looks BDSM to
Simur-
me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
she
Who are
looks
the
like
oth-
she
so
wants
who are
to-
the other female Forsaken that we have forgotten or haven't
We, no,
mentioned
we,
yet?
we saw Lanfear a while ago.
Grendel.
She's the one in the middle.
I think we're getting.
Grendel. Who
That's
else?
the only one I
Summerhage.
think.
Grendel, Mogedion, Lanfear. And
Who's
Simurgh.
this right here?
Oh,
Who's that?
Masana.
That's who I
Oh,
think
Masana.
is Lanfear.
Masana.
Where's Masana?
Masana, I think, is gone.
Masana,
think it
yeah,
is Masana.
you can't even get a statue of her. She's
You
so
would do
mysterious.
Masana, but she's White Tower though, right? Wasn't she in the tower?
Yeah, somebody that does look like she's holding the flame of Tarvalon, so it could be that that's Masana, but I just.
Oh, you
Yeah.
what?
No, she's not there.
That's amazing. I thought she was just
nothing.
doing kame ho with her hands together.
To be honest, I hope it's not though.
She's
because
also
of
got
the
a big
ones
old
I'd be
belly.
okay
Look
to
at this.
lose.
It's so protruding right there.
Ryan, that's just iron working.
I am fat shaming these Forsaken. Look at, hey, you gotta work out there, whatever you got going on
The
here.
more iron, the more valuable.
I didn't realize all the Forsakens were spiders.
So I think they're doing 4 male and 4 female Forsaken.
Good.
So I think
There you go,
we're
Bam.
getting Semiraj,
Yeah.
Lanfear, and Grendel, and then what we got Ashamael, Samael, Asmodean, and we've got one more. So who's the 4th male Forsaken that they've got?
Ravi? No, I don't know. I don't
they
know.
won't have him. He's not alive.
That's that one there. We're not sure who it is.
Balsamon.
No, that's already a
So-
Shamael.
You guys think this is Lanfear right here?
No.
No.
You told me, you said triangle. I thought
No,
triangle.
no,
Let's see what
no.
triangle we
The
got.
one with the diamond, the one with the flame.
Oh, okay.
I
all right,
think
get
they're
it.
gonna have Agonor because they need somebody who made the Trollocs. And
Yeah.
But that's all he did.
Oh.
more or
And
less.
somebody
But
they
what
need
about
to pop early.
Demandred? They've got to have.
oh
Demandred.
yeah, maybe it's
Oh,
Demandred.
yeah,
Oh,
you
the chat's
gotta
blowing
do
up
that,
on
yeah.
it too. Yeah,
Okay,
Demandred's
so
Yeah,
maybe they're having
they're yelling
Demandred.
at us.
Okay.
Sorry,
Wow, I
guys.
can't. Sorry, we were just over here.
Jesus.
no attention.
Freaking guitar. That's insane. All right, I want these so bad. I will. Amazon, please provide these. Please. I beggeth you.
Okay, so if they're gonna make Forsaken soap on a rope, what are they gonna smell like?
A patchouli.
Which no, they're gonna each have their own scent.
It's sulfur. It's gonna smell like a dark hound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wet dogs. Yeah.
Eau de toilette, but they really mean it.
Yeah.
rotten eggs.
Brindles will be a douche smell. That's for sure. Sorry, guys.
Nice.
Gotta do what I gotta do.
All right, so there is. Let's get back to the show a little bit. There's a scene before the end where Alana is talking to Moraine. Alana has offered to take Steppen, and Moraine says that she hears that the bond can be released, and Alana's like, "Don't do that. Don't do that." Do you guys think that's for some sort of foreshadowing to what will actually occur?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was what we were talking about earlier, right? Like where they're building up this whole warder bonding thing, and further in the seasons when Nynaeve, like when the bond gets passed from Moiraine, however they do it, it's gonna go to Alana and not Nynaeve. Dun dun dun.
Also, could that be
So I
any
think this
gayer?
is part of it. What?
I said, could that be any gayer? Is that
Yeah, Moraine fucks. Moraine is a White Tower whore. I'm thinking.
Moraine has
Leandrin's
freaking
like, "Hey,
chemistry
sexy."
with everyone.
Alana's like, "Hey, baby." She's like, "Hold on, I'm waiting for Swan." So Alana says, "You have 2 very powerful enemies, but we're gonna be like the dun dun dun." Moraine has fucked Swan, and she's all hooked on that.
Oh, I have a
I
question.
love how they're setting this up because I'm sorry, Mr. Howley, I totally interrupted you.
No, I just do your thing. What's in the little safe? That's
right.
it.
I will get to that.
Go,
Yes.
okay,
yes.
so go, Morgan. Go,
So
go,
I
go.
love how
Sorry.
they're setting this up because they set it up in the last episode when Steppen is telling Lon that the Amerlin seat is mad at Moraine, and then here Alana is adding to that. So the next episode is going to be the one where we meet Swan, and so I'm assuming that we're going to learn there that Swan's actually a co-conspirator. So, but I'm wondering who the actual enemy is. Is it actually Elida? I'm assuming.
Or is it Alana?
Well, I was thinking that Leandrin. They're probably combining Leandrin and Galena, and making her like the head of the Black Aja, the head of the Red Aja, the head of evil. So. But yeah, so I'm guessing that they're setting that up. But yeah, I love the fact that they're just like building this case for, tremble in fear, the Amerlin is coming back and Moraine is in trouble, and then getting that kind of lovely surprise when all of the non-readers are going to find out, oh no, this is
She
actually...
ain't in trouble. She's having a good time.
No.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen? But if you had captions on, and probably already heard this, but like if you had captions on,
It says bonk
episode,
chicka wow wow.
It says,
yeah, it says bonk chicka wow wow. Every time Moraine walks into a room, there's just like this beat in the credits. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. But no, but in when Moraine's like on her literal deathbed, she like whispers "swan."
Yeah.
So if anyone has captions on,
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, somebody's probably caught it that was, you know, that needed the captions on. So
Yeah, I caught it. Yeah, I had the captions on. I didn't know how effective that was because honestly, like, we're not going to see Swan. I mean, we're hearing that name a little bit, but I mean, it's so subtle.
that's true. I feel like nobody's actually. I mean, they probably have said it once or twice, but everyone doesn't. I think it would be disrespectful to call her Swan.
Here's a question: do you think we are able to handle, like, the world's able to handle this show because Game of Thrones has already primed everyone to not know what the fuck is going on? And you just like have like, right? I mean, like, is this only acceptable because we live in a post Game of Thrones world?
I think that Game of Thrones just did what every show should have been doing. It respected its audience. So it's like, yeah, they might have been one of the first to do it, but I don't think they even are. I think you can make a good case for West Wing and X-Files and a bunch of different shows that like really don't give you much, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch there.
I mean, Breaking Bad was really good at shooting in flashbacks, so you had to kind of like pick up stuff, and it would like not tell you until next season what a lot of stuff was. So it wasn't a fantasy show, but it was really good at telling things in retrospect. You know.
Well, let me remind us all here. So we got some trailer stuff beforehand, right? We got some little hints. One of them was a Rand's sword that was laying in leaves and was being constructed, right? That hasn't even been brought up. Another of them, it featured somewhat prominently the Amarylline Sea that we identify, but that show people do not
show
noobs,
non-readers,
noobs.
Hey, be nice,
simps,
be nice.
So simps. They don't know. They don't know that was the Amarylline. So there's several things that we have seen pretty prominently that has not even kind of come up in the show at all.
Brother Dan, like this candelabra right here.
Like that, like that.
Let's just take a second and say again, Amazon, can you make this available for purchase?
Yeah. Can we buy everything?
This is fucking the most punk rock badass thing I've ever seen.
I would totally buy Perrin's poncho that he's wearing at the fire.
All right, and also, so Matt's frumpy sweater. I would totally wear that.
Yeah, it's a bathrobe.
Yeah, his bathrobe. Yeah.
All right, so
and his bag, he has like a man bag kind of thing that's strapped around him. He always seems like he's kind of hipster by that like cross shoulder strap that he has going on.
Her dress is the exact same color as her eyes. Look at this.
That real dark blue, yeah.
I mean, if that's not on purpose, this is a happy accident. Look at that. And then we go to boom. Let's get into this, guys. Theories. Tell me what you think.
I don't even have theories. I only have hopes, and that's that this is just a gateway into Swan's room. I have no shame. I'm just gonna be straight up about that.
It's a magical. Oh, you.
Imagine.
That's just, to be honest, this isn't based in any reality.
Glory hole.
It's the Gloria. It's how they get into Hogwarts.
I mean, but
Neville Longbottom's about to be like, "Would you like to see the love of your life again?" Here we go.
Oh my God! No, look at that. That's a great. Because look at this is like corridor and like we're looking at someone, looking at someone, looking at someone. Like there's so many like levels.
Portrait of a lady on fire, but.
It's like a Mario painting.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire? What are you talking about?
I think it's more Rain.
If you haven't seen that movie, I really encourage everyone to watch that film. It's very good.
All right. Well, I
think it's more Rain as well.
Unless they come out with a Portrait of a Man on Fire, I will not watch that movie.
You have got to watch it. It is so.
And then if they don't come out with a Portrait of them on fire, I will not watch this movie. All right. So
you are so on top of everything.
No, it's helpful because I hate movies.
Yeah. So you just have so many restrictions. I don't watch movies that star an actor named Ryan anymore.
Brother,
there's only one Ryan in my life.
Oh my God.
All right, so I've heard that this is a swan painting of Moraine, and she's just looking at it for nostalgia and loving yearnings.
And tingles.
But I do love how there is just layers and layers within this one little painting. Like, what is going on? She's looking through this whole entryway into a room with another entryway into the outdoor, which seems like another entryway here, and then a Tarvalon style little shape right there.
It's elephants all the way down.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just like,
So
keep going. Like, let's pause to.
Maybe it's something like they're gonna have that. Swan had a talent for painting or whatever. So this is a picture that she painted. Moraine has to hide it behind something because they're trying to keep the people to have people forget that they had this long-standing relationship, and then so she opens the thing to look at it, and they're giving us this background presumably because we're gonna get a flashback where we get to see where Swan painted it or gave it to Moraine.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, with like because we know that there's a
Ryan, if you zoom in, that white bit there in the painting is actually shaped like a fish.
the rocks, just the stone is Tarvalon.
It's shaped like a snapper fish, or what is it called?
Like
A pike.
Our
A
favorite
pike in
fishmonger swan.
It's a mackerel. All right, holy mackerel.
Give us a joke.
I mean, just the detail alone in this one shot. Look at this wall. It's super believable. I feel like that's a real. This doesn't feel like a set, and I rarely feel like I'm on set. And maybe Carolina, you could talk about that and how they're doing that, because I know they're on sets, but I rarely feel like they're on sets. Certain shots make me feel like they're on set. Like
Shadow
when I walk.
Logoth certainly made it feel like it was on a set to me.
Shadow Logoth, I think, especially because of the nature of what Shadow Logoth. I think actually the sound design is probably the first reason, and they have to make dialogue around it so that you understand that they're making it silent.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the first issue with the set is that it doesn't have any natural sound, which is good because it means you can add a bunch of layers. But they didn't add layers because they wanted you to think, wow, there's nothing living. But then it feels like a set because there's nothing living. And then it's also the lighting, because the lighting in Shadow Logoth is so ethereal. Whenever you try to make moonlight, it's actually one of the biggest nightmares for cinematographers, because you can go blue, you can go white, you can even go green, you can go yellow, and it will totally change how an audience perceives the nighttime that you're feeling. And they went with a really, really white blue.
Yeah.
And it made it so it looks really creepy, but it gives you kind of like a Underworld Rise of Lycans type of
right.
Immediately feels very fantastical and will look a little bit more fake in a way.
Which is weird because they can do night shooting and they can do it quite effectively. This scene when they're running around at night, you could tell it's night.
Yeah, but for instance, check the moonlight here. They're using a lot of lanterns, and the moonlight is
those are super powerful lanterns. Hey.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate. Whitecloaks can really make a powerful lantern. All right, right here is this feels like nighttime.
Yeah, they're probably. I don't think in this one it doesn't look. They might have an HMI shining on the top of the tents to give it a little bit of that white glow, because moonlight really doesn't actually exist. If you actually go outside when the moon is out, unless you're in a clear field, the moon does not light anything to any sort of f-stop ability. Sorry if I'm saying anything that's really confusing.
No, I love. I'm fucking gobbling this up. And
you see, there, that's a great example. On the right side of her, this is a great cinematographer shot, because they're getting two different colors, which gives depth to a scene. Mm-hmm. And what's really beautiful there is they've definitely got an HMI an HMI shining on the right, and then they've got maybe a tungsten.
Yeah. So light over here, which is creating that shadow.
Yeah.
And then we have the fire lit up back with a weird kind of what? He's not wearing a belt. I don't know.
That's his back. Yeah,
that's his back.
Because
I know.
It's all bloody.
Yeah, I mean, even her wearing white and then being white cloaks makes night scene much better, because if they were wearing dark, all this light would just immediately be consumed by their clothing. So it gives them this luminescent, beautiful, almost Lanfear vibe actually. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, and then there's what you're saying, and you guys can cut me off whenever. The Tarvalon one. Why it looks so real is because there's a lot of different lights. They're using a lot of different light sources, which make the space feel, which is actually not actually how any room usually is, but something about a lot of light sources feels like a very natural thing for a human to look at because it creates depth and focus. Because your eyes are kind of always creating those different eye lines, like your eyes are always creating a visual for yourself. And so when a cinematographer is and a production designer is curating something for you, they have to think in another level of interesting because your eyes are always going to think of something more interesting than they can create.
Oh,
so
whoa.
what you're seeing with Tarvalon is like it has to look super realistic and it has to look super interesting. Like even the lantern needs to be unique because you're going to catch every little, even if you don't know you're catching it, you're going to catch every little detail that's not there. But, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, because we fill in the blanks.
And that was just for 1 second of one shot.
Right.
I mean, let me tell you, like the production designer, whoever they have on set, like every shot, like they'll probably move that little frame just a little bit to the left if the cinematographer is like, oh, we're going to shoot from this way, and they're like, well, I painted this beautiful thing, and you're not going to see it, so I'm going to put it over here. And in Moraine's room, it's literally bare, so I bet the PD was kind of like, fuck me, like they're going to think I don't care about this room, but really I do. But they made it to find ways to make it interesting, even though it is barren.
They gave us the picture.
Yeah, somebody worked really hard on that, I'm sure.
And Bella ran home. Who ran home?
I'm doing
Someone
this.
in the comments is making a comment about how it might be foreshadowing since they were talking about the whole thing with the bond between Aes Sedai and Warders, and now she's looking through a doorway in the picture.
Say that again? Say that one more time?
They were
Alright,
having
let's-
the conversation about the bond between Aes Sedai and Warders, and then she goes and looks at a picture where she's looking through a doorway. So there's like a woman on another side of a doorway.
So
I thought it was her looking at herself, looking into the future or whatever. Like for me, it represented total Game of Houses with her. And the picture, that person in the picture is actually Moiraine herself.
This person says they think it's Moiraine in the Sun Palace.
Oh, that's, yeah. When she was younger, before she went to the tower.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to push the storyline of how she's like trying to escape being the queen of Cairhien? Like, do you think they're going to...
I don't think so. I think because she when they run into the Whitecloaks, you know, she passes off her ring to Lon for him to hide in his pants, and then she tells them, "I'm a lady from a fallen house, and you are under my care." Which, at first, I was just sort of like, "Oh, she's like saying, call me Alice," and then I realized, no, she's totally being truthful. She is a lady from a fallen house, and so, but if you're considering the Domodreds to be a fallen house, then yeah, maybe they will just have been like, it was hopeless to expect them to be able to hold on to the throne once Layman basically caused the Aiel War. So I think they probably won't have that be a thing.
Do you
Well,
remember?
they could use her to go up against Elaine, or do something like that. Like they could have them both kind of, you know, create that false type of drama or tension there. But I forgot how when Rand starts divvying out the countries.
So I'm actually looking forward to when they do that Paul Simon cover, and they're like,
fun.
I can call you Andra, and Andra, when you call me, you can call me Alice. Call me Alice. All right.
All right. So I gotta shake it out when you do Bella.
I had to wake up Carolina. It's getting late for her.
Yes, it is.
So we'll get to let's get to the last scene.
all right. Well, before we go on, guys, we're at the 2-hour mark. We've passed it. If you need to leave, let us know, and we can just say goodbye. If you want to hang out, there's a bunch of people watching. We're having a great time. We can just keep going. I just want to give you guys your prerogative, and we will not take offense.
Yeah, if you guys want to leave and go on Spotify and go get some Tuvon throat singing songs, talk about the funeral.
Dude, I'm ready to party.
Good for now. I'm sticking around.
Yeah, more than happy to stick around.
The human didgeridoo. All right, yeah. Let's rush through this, and then we'll call it a night, guys. You guys are awesome. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're here every Sunday talking about the episodes. We're on Tuesdays talking about the book. This guy, I want to kiss him. He's like, kiss me.
He's the Leander we thought we were getting.
So, do we have anybody have any explanation why Nynaeve would be there?
Because she had an emotional attachment to Steppen at that point. She had been worried about him and, working to try to help him.
She was.
They traveled for a month.
Fire. Sorry, brother. Dan.
I mean, Lan said she's worried about him, but Maureen's like, yeah, she's worried about you, buddy.
Well, no, I think.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I think she definitely was concerned for him, and then he goes to her room to get the herbs that he drugs Lan with. So I think that it's totally she just has an emotional attachment to him at that point, and it's.
Do you think that'll come up? Do you think that
stitching.
It has come up or will come up that the herbs are the reason that Lan wasn't able to stop him from doing that? Do you think that she'll ever find out about that?
I don't know.
Ooh, Mog's coming in. She might even feel responsible.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
That's what I was. Yeah, because if she finds out, But somebody made a good point in one of the videos I was watching. He never says he's actually going to use those herbs for himself. Like in their conversation, he's pretty much hinting the whole time that they're not for him because he doesn't want to go to sleep. He wants to.
Right.
You're right. Whoa.
I was on. Yeah, I was
Somebody
on
else
that
said
angle.
that.
Dun dun dun! All right, first off, before we move on, this is amazing. Look at that headpiece. What do you call that? A beanie with embellishments?
A beret.
Beanie brow braid.
I loved it. I I've never seen anything like it. It's just totally unique, totally immersive.
That is cool. Oh,
There's-
and then there's Lane.
Dude, when I saw that scene of that shot of Nynaeve breaking down, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, because I was like, the rest of it, even though it is really emotional and it worked, part of me was all.
Oh, you want to? How about this? You want a double dose?
No.
Everyone, watch Carolina.
It breaks me. It takes my soul.
Oh, Egwene's crying. She's getting scrubbed to death, and she's totally crying. Didn't break you. This
This is what broke me.
broke you. All right, no, this was okay. So, again, this scene was amazing. Totally well done. Really, I don't mind a slowly paced scene. I don't even mind overacting if it feels sincere.
He was named the acting performance of the week by TV something.com.
But what does that mean? What does that mean? I know
that?
all of a sudden that's all over the internet. I'm like, what did that website go up last week?
Yeah,
It means that this
Sponsored
is
by Campbell's.
this was what made people cry. Yeah, I don't know. It's just.
Well, he has more expressive ears than Loial.
He literally said tits out for the boys. He said tits out for the boys, and then they were like, "Here's your reward." Thanks, he's just desserts. He's done what he had to do.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's it.
No, the ear thing. Sorry, I apologize.
I'm a fan of these
That dude
candelabras.
has a sculpted
Again.
beard. Hold on, go back to the left?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Is
man, look at that.
Is that the former CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey?
His beard isn't long enough.
Special guest appearance.
Is that Remy Malik? Is that Remy Malik on the left with the mouth?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, this guy.
That's
Look at
Remy
that.
Yes.
That's killer.
Oh, my God. Did he put like cotton swabs in his mouth to make that push out?
He's got some chew.
He's
So
still
we're
playing
assuming
Freddie
that
Mercury.
this land that is on the show now after 5 episodes is not Stoneface, right?
Yeah.
So are these guys stoked he's not, they don't have to bet him, or are they like bummed?
They're like, God, oh man, that was a sweet piece of meat.
Well, I'm
we
guessing
could have
if
had
they're
him.
exhausted, they were looking forward to having someone else to share the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lana was just once a
I heard
lot.
that too.
And do we think that Lana has been with 2 men?
Land?
Probably not. But
I mean, I'm
don't
not
know.
against
I don't
it.
know.
But I think for him, he likes to focus on one thing at a time.
And that is an unnatural space between your
Carolina,
pinky
that's
toe I think this concerns me about this man's health right here. Look
You
at
can
that.
fly a plane through that, Ryan.
He's keeping the Aes Sedai stone there in the meantime.
Oh my god. All right, so everyone, thank you for sticking around for this type of amazing analysis.
All right, Lan, relieve us of our grief.
Or wait, this way.
All right, so at first I did not like it, but I get that if he's a true leader of men and this is their cultural practice, to give this man this responsibility and for him to really embody it, I get it now more than ever. I'm more okay with it. I still don't think any of this is necessary. Any of this stuff is necessary at all. It's just I felt on some level like I was being emotionally manipulated to have feelings.
Yeah, that was kind of the point. This was the
Welcome
Fields
to
episode.
film, Ryan.
No,
No, I get what you're saying.
So I mean I bawled, I cried, but then I felt like dirty afterwards. I was like, oh my god, like I just felt like I just got taken for a ride. Oh, we still don't see. Oh, look at this.
Stop it!
Is that the missing fucking sword? Did they just bury him in his own room? What's happening here?
Yes,
they're
yeah.
doing
I
it
don't
in his
care. You're
room.
still showing me this, and I just can't. I just cannot. You have to change it.
All right, I'll change it. Let's go back to this guy really
Okay.
pushing it. Hey.
Yeah, it's like
He's eating too much.
All right, so yeah. I felt taken advantage of for this.
I think, look, I get where you're coming from. This is like what I was saying earlier about how if this happened 5 seasons from now,
Yes,
I would feel
yeah.
emotional. But like you're saying, like I felt emotional because the performances were great, but not because like the story had given me enough time
Yes.
to feel like I should mourn this much for somebody I met last episode.
Yes,
I agree with that.
just because he told me about his dad 10 minutes ago doesn't mean I need to be sad that he killed himself. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, especially because there's a lead up of just him being sad for the entire episode. It wasn't like.
But are you really not sad for him? You're
I
more
don't
sad
think-
for Lan and those
Yeah.
and Nynaeve and
Yeah.
Moraine.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to feel sad for Steppen. In fact, I think we're supposed to expect from the beginning that he's going to end up killing himself at the end of the episode. At least that was my assumption. You know, it's
Well,
like
yeah.
he'll get her ring to the tower. I'm like, and then he's going to off himself because, of course, he is. But yeah, I feel like one of the, I feel like one of the great things they're doing with this show is managing what I like to call like multi-purpose writing, where they do stuff and it just like manages to do so many different things. And I feel like one of the main things that they've done with this is kind of like highlight very subtly, I guess it maybe isn't even highlighting, Lan and Moiraine's relationship and like all of this kind of, the subtext of all of the stuff that goes between them. So there is so much just between them looking at each other. Like they say almost nothing to each other. And so it's like foreshadowing, but also just it talks so much about what is between them with almost nothing in words. And once again, with all of these people who've never read the books, everybody seemed to comment on that. And so they all found that so moving because they were just kind of like, it made them so much more invested. Like it developed the relationship between Lan and Moiraine using almost no words, which is honestly pretty impressive. Like and it did so much world building between the Aes Sedai and the Warders, where I feel like it gave a real foundational understanding. And so I feel like it was really well done.
Yeah, it's true that it's so well acted. I mean, that's part of the thing as well, because I keep kind of going back and forth on it, because part of me, I think it's really hard to step back and not see how the repercussions of this will change Lan's character as we go forward. And I think the thing with that is actually that's not a problem. That's just something that might actually be fine. Like it's fine for things to change, and his character can be, more emotionally available, and that might not be a bad thing. But then what you're saying as well, like it's so beautifully acted between them. And we talked about it earlier, like how they move together and how you can see her gradually becoming more in grief as he's looking at, like it is a masterclass, and I mean kind of similar to the Perrin and Egwene and Valda scene where these actors are just like genuinely actually responding to each other instead of trying to get the script done, get out of the room, get home.
What was the one scene where they're like ride their horses is like, home is my saddle and my boots and this grumpy old guy next to me. Like, I love that joke, like the verbal joke of them, instead of it all being internal.
Well, also, it's just kind of like you cannot show internal narratives, either what a person is thinking and feeling themselves, or else another person's observations. A lot of what gets told to you about Lon, at least until you get to his point of views, which you don't get until like book 13 or something, is what other people think about what he's feeling based upon like minimal facial expressions and stuff like that. So you have to have them be at least moderately expressive. That's one of the reasons why Moraine looks worried and concerned and all of these things that over the, if you were reading the book, she wouldn't look like any of that. She would be totally impassive as she's going through the two rivers, but you cannot do that and, have an effective show. Mm-hmm. So,
That's really interesting. It's very interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add on, I think the foundation of New Spring as well, because they establish Lan's persona in that book, and you just carry it through the rest of the other books. So,
yeah, it's actually kind of groundbreaking. You saying the thing about how you can't show people like what people are thinking. But what's groundbreaking about this is that they are trying to show us what they're thinking, but through another person.
Yep.
We're seeing, I'm sure maybe there's other things, of course, where you can say it's been done before. But this is like such a clear, they're telling you are going to understand these characters' emotions based off of what the other person is showing you, what they've done. Which is actually like, I never even realized how kind of new ground that is.
Yeah.
Ryan, back up that.
That's so cool, man.
The backup one.
Yeah, great points, man.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The other thing I was thinking is because you can't get internal narrative from Perrin, I'm wondering if his eyes aren't going to be yellow all the time, if they're only going to go yellow while he's interacting with the wolves, which I think is really effective. That's
going to go Hulk.
So yeah, that was my point too, MrHowley, is that it seemed more when he got very agitated. I did not see communication with wolves. I saw where he was like, and he kind of turned half wolf.
Hey, even if Eggy hadn't stabbed him in the shoulder, he still probably would have had to change his outfit because he shit his pants. He look up and like, oh my god!
I would have loved if when he came across the wolf that we see is maybe Hopper, and if his eyes kind of flashed and he said he won't hurt us, then I would say, yeah, there was some wolf communication. But that didn't happen as far as I remember.
Right.
Yeah, they'll probably do more with that, but like they did more subtle like showing of his starting to increase his senses. Like when they first run into the Tawathon, if you notice, they do something with the sound where like Egwene's voice fades out while she's talking to him, but he hears like crackling in the branches and everything, so it's showing how his hearing has gotten better and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, darn, I have to go back and watch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very cool. Yeah, it's very cool. So it really seems like they're pushing this kind of element of you're going to start to have to, as an audience, have to try to interpret things based off of your sensory understanding.
What scene do they do that in?
When the Tinkers first encounter them. So in episode 3.
Corralling them in.
Yeah, basically on both sides before they show up. He whips out his knife because you hear him. He stops and he gets all agitated.
He whips out his what?
His knife.
Oh my god, I'm blushing. I'm blushing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the way they do the sound, all of a sudden, like you hear, I don't know exactly what you would call it, but you hear this increasing crackling, and Egwene's voice goes really foggy and distant as she's talking to him. And it's
and you start hearing the wolves and stuff. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. I remember that.
Ryan, let me just publicly say these stills are awesome. I know it takes a lot of time for you to do these.
Thank you, brother Dan.
It makes the show great. You're doing great. This is awesome.
Dana's made a good point. I agree. Yes, and they look really clear as well, which is really impressive because I don't know how you're doing that. But Dana's made a good point in the chat as well that in Chatter Logoth, Perrin's the one that points out that you can't hear birds or insects.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. I didn't even notice that.
That's awesome. That's a good one.
Well done, Dana. We only say it once. Right?
Yep. This his face right here when he's confessing, what a powerhouse scene. I've been kind of upset with how boring he's been, and I like how physically he's been handling himself. He's so huge, and he kind of is maintaining this slumped shoulder, like bad posture. Even when he's running, he's kind of like got this kind of lumbering quality to it. He doesn't seem very like nimble.
He's so cute.
This scene is I'm sorry, Ryan.
But I just think
He
he's
is hot.
he's acting the shit out of him to make himself seem as physically formidable and huge as we're trying to get him to be.
This scene with Egwene absolving him of his guilt as he is being cut is fantastic. She's like, Perrin, it's not your fault. And he's like, ugh. She's like, and she keeps saying, Perrin, don't worry. No, you're forgiven. You're forgiven. I mean, and she's in white. I mean, the whole thing is just very reconciliation type, penance type thing.
But what's so amazing about it, as almost like a piece of literature, as I see this as a mini play, like for her to say this, like you are going to figure this out, that you're not responsible if it takes the rest of your life. That's the moment she knows I'm dead.
Yeah.
And the last message I want him is for him to be able to forgive himself. And she's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself. Unknown horrors are gonna. She knows he might cut off my hands, whatever, and she's like, "Forgive yourself, please." And he's like, "No, don't do it." And she does it. And we have to remember that this is whole prefaced by Nynaeve talking about how Egwene had brokeback disease when she was a child, and she almost died. And she's
brokeback disease.
So for this,
yeah.
Can I say?
Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal and her.
Why can't I shake you? I can't get you out of my head.
So for this, the one thing that I thought they would have done with Nynaeve in this scene, which it just didn't seem like it came through, was that it looked like she was coming. I thought she was coming to the self-realization that when Egwene was going through this,
that she healed her.
She actually because I think that's what they say in the books, and I was just like, I didn't get that self-actualization.
No, they're emphasizing her like as if she did it herself, like she's such a badass little kid.
And she says, there's one thing about
that canon for Nynaeve. The canon for Nynaeve.
Yes,
she's starting to realize I have the power.
And that's how she found Egwene in the first place. Is Moiraine was able to suss out that you healed. So all of this is gone, and we still don't know how she freaking found Lan and Moiraine.
And who cares at this point? Kind of.
I care. What the fuck, Dan? What are we doing this for? She's unbreakable.
You keep showing this picture of Nynaeve crying, and I cannot handle Nynaeve crying in any form. So
I'm sorry. I know. I feel like I'm like taking advantage of you, Carolina. I feel like if we're not going to end until you cry, Carolina. I'm sorry.
Did you hear about Nynaeve's cat?
Not right.
Did you hear about Nynaeve's cat?
Nynaeve's cat.
Wait, what's up?
Yeah.
What? Jenny? What?
No,
It
this
didn't make
isn't.
it.
We're not
and
doing this.
Nynaeve.
We're not doing this. That's why I'm trying to-
Nope. Do not. Did you hear Nynaeve had a puppy for a week?
Okay, you know what?
All right. So I really thought they missed an opportunity. That painting behind that golden like chest should have been Jenny the dog.
Should have had a puppy.
She should have used the power to open it.
Again, yeah, that would have been sick too, because it seemed like anyone could have opened that. It's not a big secret. People come and clean her room. I'm assuming.
Thank you, Dana. Appreciate that. She's got my back.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Shows all the wards and everything.
You know, though. Okay, can I go back to, because you were just doing a Rand and Nynaeve, and then right before that, Perrin and Egwene. I'm backtracking all the way around this. But both those two relationships, I think, are the most like not really talked about relationships, but also two of the strongest different relationships in the books between Perrin and Egwene, and then also Nynaeve and Rand, where they have this like innate support for each other and do things for each other that almost no, like Nynaeve for Rand does what Matt and Perrin genuinely refused to do for Rand, which was be a friend. And then Egwene for Perrin. Egwene like forgives Perrin of anything that he thinks is disgusting about himself before anyone else, and like hides a secret for him without even being asked to, because she respects him and loves him. And like their relationships, like I just I think, and also seeing them in this episode, it was like really clear that they're actually going to prioritize continuing those sub relationships that aren't going to be the forefront but are still really important. Like they're still showing them.
Speaking of sub relationships, Layla, there is a revelation that came out I think just today about Layla.
What?
Right, and Morgan, I really want to give you credit because you were the first to I think suss it out.
What?
On a level. Egwene, Madeline Madden.
Well said.
Madeline Madden 2022. Would you everyone pick up your new? Anyways, yeah.
Wait, no, go on. I like this.
Tell me,
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't hear
Instead of
anything.
Madden 2020 is Madeline Madden. Anyway, so yeah, it's a dumb joke. So Madeline Madden stated in
It's
an
in the
interview, she said that, quote, Perrin held a candle to her a bit, and that caused a bit of a conflict in his marriage.
Okay. Yeah.
You called that shit, Morgan, and like once you
first episode.
Yep, once you pointed that out, that's been my headcanon, and it's proven out that I think that Perrin's got the hots for Egwene. I think there's going to be some sort of thing with that, and I do believe that the moment in the Tinker camp when they're all dancing and mopey Perrin like leaves and she's looking around like, oh, where did he go? Like that's all very, very subtle like inclinations to her true feeling states. She's developing feelings for Perrin also. I think it's really.
I hope so. But at the same time, it's like I don't know how they can realistically develop a relationship like that and then have their arcs go. I mean, a lot of people in the books have relationships that are never really managed to spend any time together. So I suppose that's doable. But yeah.
Didn't you get the idea though? Even in Eye of the World, when they were first separated, and they have that moment where he's like, "Oh, I really just think of you as a sister," like. Right, like didn't you get a moment, a sense that they were at some point like questioning themselves, like whether there's something going on in the Eye of the World, even?
I don't know. He tells. I don't know, cause yeah, he tells Elias that he loves her, and then glares at him, and then it's like not like that. I mean, she's not like a sister, but she and Rand. So I don't know, but I feel like I love the scene of them, hiding in Hawkwing's statue, and it's like, I just feel like they could have a real love, and because they seem like they're so good at just letting each other be their true selves. So
that's true. I think my only issue.
That's a great way of putting it, Morgan. Sorry, Caroline. Jesus Christ, what a
totally
fucking
agree.
great way of putting it. Wow.
In the books, I actually, when I was reading it, I was kind of hoping all the time that I liked that they were a really great platonic relationship, so I was fine with the way it went. But I did always think that they were really compatible, with her being so fiery and kind of outspoken, and him being so quiet but also very thoughtful. They would really balance each other well. But then also, the thing I'm having a hard time with this now is, if it's confirmed, is that I don't love the idea that Perrin would be unfaithful to his wife, because to me, Perrin is like, the whole thing with him and Fael is that Perrin would never even consider, like, he's just not that kind of person.
Oh, that's a good point.
What
does it say about Perrin? Yeah,
what does it say about Perrin? And I don't like what it says about Perrin, because that's one thing Perrin has a lot of flaws, but disloyalty is not really one that I would want to give to him. So yeah, that would worry me just a little bit, if it's real. If it's just that he likes women that often are jealous, and maybe he didn't actually have a thing for her, and then Layla was reading into it, and that we're going to get more of that, then maybe that's
I was hoping she just sensed that she was a dark friend somehow. I never trusted that woman, and it turns out that she shouldn't have.
Well, I think mine is with their two relationships. Mine has always been associated with the dreaming. Like, that's where they had that intimate type of bond, where they both had that dreaming, where they could interact with each other there. That's where, when I was reading the books. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I brought it to a screeching halt. Sorry.
No,
about
that's
that.
fine. We're not shouting
Jeez.
over each other.
Not. No, I'm
Yeah,
just.
once,
Are you guys stunned?
I'm scrolling chat. I'm sorry. There's chats all over the place right now.
Yeah, because I'm conflicted. Like, part of me feels like Egwene would do better to be single, because she's just got a job that she could be wedded to, and that would be another way of, like, most wonderfully subverting tropes and giving us what we don't expect is just to not have everybody paired together and let some people be single, have some good ace representation, just have some, you know, I mean, they've shown her being sexual, so maybe, you know, she won't be someone that they'll choose for that, but, you know, just having someone be single and choosing her career and being happy that way. So I don't know, but yeah, I do love their chemistry. And I mean, the people who are angry about the show are going to be angry no matter what. So at this point, if they want to make changes that are that drastic when it comes to relationships, it's just kind of like, I'm whatever. When it comes to, I feel like the world that RJ wrote is so perfectly designed to, within the canon, support lots of different changes, including some that are pretty drastic, that I'm here for it. I'm just
well, to your point then, Morgan, we hear that Valda says, I think you're an Aes Sedai, I think that's your order. Will that come to fruition?
I don't know, because one thing that they've truly changed here is that it's like, she doesn't necessarily want to leave, which I know a lot of people didn't like that about her being ta'veren, because she was the one who chose to go, but it's like they just didn't have time to develop an arc like that, so it was better to be like, you all have to leave, you know, but him being the one
now.
who's like, you know,
now, in 5 minutes, without any explanation, just everyone will, sorry, go on, sorry.
So, for him, I feel like he's the one who would be the most reluctant to go back now, instead of the one who absolutely wants to go home. So, because he has such terrible memories at this point, like going home.
Well, he did ask, this is different in the book. In the book, Egwene says, do you think we'll ever go home? And Perrin says, yeah, we'll go. And she says, will you dance with me on Sunday? In this, he says, do you think we'll ever go home? And she flat out says, no.
Yeah.
One of the subtle things I love with her characterization, because he asks her questions a couple of times. Do you think we'll go home? And she's like, no. Do you think Rand and Matt are okay? And she's like, I don't know. They show her practicality where she's not willing to just dress things up and be like, yeah, we'll go home someday, or yeah, I'm sure they're fine. She's just very realistic and not trying to sugarcoat things to make him feel better, which, you know, is very Egwene in a lot of ways, and I appreciate. That seems like really true to her characterization. I have to plug my laptop in. Hold on.
No, it's fine. So you had made this point earlier, Morgan. I'm curious to see that. Oh, go ahead and plug it in. I mean,
okay.
But I'm curious to see the state of Egwene's braid. If she is going to then tie it back up, or if this is indeed her release from the Two Rivers, and she's going to keep her head down.
All right, let's take a picture. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice. Look at that.
Yes,
Perfect.
that's
Nice.
awesome.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was so cool.
Thanks very much, guys.
Okay. Anyway, you were saying?
No, I was saying that. What did I just say? I said something cool.
I don't know. I was talking about Egwene not sugarcoating things and being willing to acknowledge hard truths.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said. But
You're like, oh, that sounds smarter than I was gonna
it's
go.
in and out. I mean, it comes in my brain, it goes out my mouth, and there's no stenographer. Court reporter, can you read that back? I'm sorry, I missed that. Anyways,
Wouldn't that be something?
but it was something to your point. I remember saying to your point. Anyways, it's getting late for Carolina. And we've been on for almost.
Yeah.
right?
Let's wrap this bad boy
Oh,
up.
look at that!
Oh, insanity.
There it is. There it is.
Insanity.
That's
I look
great.
like here's Johnny. I literally am like, here.
No.
Best photo bomb ever.
Caroline
right.
on the couch, you have started doing content, which I am so proud of you. Your videos are funnier than they should be.
Yeah.
The
Your
little,
personality comes out each time.
the little memes
More
you
and
throw in are perfect. Your adoration of Rosamund Pike and Moraine is evident.
I'm sure that's true. Yeah.
Have you what are you through as far as like your video reviews now? You've done episode 3?
I'm uploading episode 3 today. Today. I did it, but then I was like, I don't want to post it when I'm here. So, it's like I don't want to be like, hey guys, go watch my video instead of this.
But hey guys, go watch your video now.
Yeah, I'll post it and then you guys can watch. Yes, I'm trying to get them down quickly now because I decided to do this like after I saw everyone's reactions. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this shit. But then it was like episode 4 was coming out that day, and then I was like, oh my god, this is an uphill battle. But your girl's gonna figure it out. I'm really good done.
They dropped all 3 at once, and you're like, oh shit, shit, I got some work to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also like way more anal than I wish to be when I edit. So I'm like, I like have it done, and then like 4 hours later, I'm still like just like,
so
things
hard.
nobody gives a fuck about. I'm just like, just
Right.
between the timelines. But yeah,
Well,
no,
I
it's been
mean,
great fun.
seriously, we have 60 people watching now. Please, guys, subscribe to Caroline on the Couch. It is fun. It is great. You've seen what she's here. It's almost 3 a.m. and she's hanging out with us. Give her the pump it
Thanks
bump.
very much.
The pump it bump.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's been great fun being here.
Morgan, as always, your podcast is my favorite ever.
Thank you.
I will say it. I'll continue to say it.
Yeah.
And you just released something this week, correct?
I released a video, my react for episode 3. I'm editing my react for episode 4. I had technical difficulties. My laptop shut down with my front camera, and I lost like the 30 or 40 minutes of it. So I have like side footage. So it might not be quite as interesting. I'm trying to figure out how best to make that work. And then I've recorded a mini-sode about Rand and Elaine's relationship because I figured that would be some little like content to drop to kind of like fill in the gap until the show finishes.
Nice.
So
Good idea.
Your
gotta
deep
edit
dives
that.
are appropriately deep. They go wonderfully through the books, and yet you don't just overload with just minutia. You bring it into context in the frame of the story, I think, and that's one of the reasons I really like your commentary a lot.
But this mini-sode is me talking out my ass, so it's a little
right.
That's my thread. That's my style. Just straight out the ass.
I talk out the ass all the time.
Next Sunday,
Hey, it's called improv, guys. It's called improv.
Next
That is
Sunday
what it is called.
It's lazy art. Let's go.
Next Sunday
The
is
originality.
the charity podcast-a-thon. So when are you guys doing Tavern Talk?
We are not next week. Next week
Okay.
we are doing our Pictionary,
Right, yeah.
our Watchinary, and that is part of the Wada Holiday Marathon. Morgan is actually one of our guessers for this week, and so we are not doing a Tavern Talk this coming week. We'll do one on the 19th.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. We got Watchinary though.
MrHowley.
I got shit.
You got shit.
I don't do it.
Well, you just went and saw Tuba Christmas. You're involved in the arts. You're a cultured man.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan's ignoring me. There you go.
Oh yeah. I want extra wontons. Thank you.
I just want to say, Morgan and Carolina, man, awesome conversation.
Wow,
it was
really?
Great hanging out with
Yeah.
you. A shout out to like Matt and Ben and everybody in chat. I mean, this was a lot of fun. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it when you invite me on.
Oh, you're the best. I mean,
Oh,
and
man.
you help when you're not on. You help as a mod, and our mods. Let me give a nod to them. We got
Yeah, definitely.
corn spammers. We got corn jammers. We got.
We have negative
corn
nannies.
But
Glory holes.
we got glory holes, and we are Dumai's wells, and they are our Aes Sedai. That
They're
are
our warders, yeah.
Yeah.
blocking. Yeah, I love it.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
they're on
I'm
Tommy.
very sore breast by the end of this.
All right, it's been a great episode. I'm so happy everyone stuck around. And if you haven't already, please, again, like and subscribe. You can support us through Patreon as well.
We're on Discord.
We are a small channel. If you don't want to subscribe, just press the like button. It's always like it's like a little tip, right? You think like you're walking by, we're playing a jingle on the corner outside of Whole Foods.
Throw a quarter into our hat, would you?
Yeah, come on now.
Tuba
We're-
Christmas.
We'll buy
And-
booze with it. Trust me.
And if you do make a comment on our after our videos, if you comment, we really do try to respond. So we try to make even our comments not live chat, our comments more interactive as well. So we don't ignore you. We read them all, and we try to respond as best we can.
All right, everybody. Have a great night. We love you all. And as always, run for your lives, because this is
Yes.
the way of the leaf.
Or link
Oh,
arms
yeah.
and get beat up.
Yeah.
Link arms and get beat up.
Yeah,
That's
yes.